Disclaimer. We are two regular guys who love to talk Bone Thugs and Harmony. We do not represent Bone Thugs or any Bone affiliate. We are also not Bone Thugs experts. The views and information you hear in this podcast may be based on personal opinion. Please feel free to leave corrections and clarifying information in the comments. And enjoy. What's up, y'all? Cecil West, Beyond the Harmony, BeyondTheHarmony.com. Back again, live with the one and only
Jonathan Lippy.
And we have no idea if this is working. We're trying out all kinds of new stuff. We actually made you guys part of our live try experience here. So let us know if you guys are hearing us okay. I know that it was a little bit choppy for just a second, so we're trying out some new stuff, and I was like, John, what better way for us to try out this new shit than to just go live, try it out. We were gonna record some stuff tonight, but here we are live, chopping it up with you guys. I hope this works, okay, John.
Yeah, so in the comments, Adrian Gonzalez said that you're sounding good, so
nice.
That's one good thing.
All right.
And and so yeah, hopefully in this season 3, we're going to try to bring some new tech, some new ways to interact, and do some of the things that we talked about in previous live episodes when we've been trying to collaborate to find better ways to bring the Bone community together. And we almost found the ultimate app to do it. There's some limitations to it, but I think it's going to increase. First off, our audio is going to sound a lot better, and two, hopefully the interactions between everybody, and we could get a real good live party going if this technology works as we hope it does.
Yeah, and it may be. I tried to turn the latency so there wasn't so much delay between us and everybody else, and that may be what's going on. That may be why it was a little choppy.
It could be. Were you like playing the intro through your computer, through the tech, through that other piece of tech you have, or how is that even coming up?
Yeah, so I got to play it through the stream. Through the Streamlab, and that makes it like a whole fucking thing. And I think it's usually not a problem, but again, I think the latency that I picked. Ooh, Shutter in the building.
Oh,
Shutter already in the building. So I think it's what I picked. But that's all right. We're gonna run with it anyway. We're gonna make it happen. We may run into some shit along the way. So usually what would happen here is I would say, yo, if you want to call in, you got to call this number and do this thing and go through all this shit. So instead, it's real easy. What we're trying to do this time is do everything through Skype. So all you got to do is have Skype. If you don't have Skype, you can get in the Apple Marketplace. You can get in the Google Marketplace. Get Skype, and then all you got to do is add Beyond the Harmony and send me a message letting me know, add me, and let me know you want to be on the show, and I'll bring you in. And please don't sit there and fucking message me. Believe me, if you add me and message me, I'm going to see you, and I'm going to get everybody on, because we want to talk to everybody. So it's super easy. Get Skype, and then add Beyond the Harmony 99 at gmail.com, and let's chop it up, and you'll help me and John figure out if this is working.
Yeah, and it's the original Skype. Don't get it confused with Skype for Business. It may even come pre-installed on some versions of Windows
Oh, that's
10,
true.
possibly
Yeah.
possibly even still some versions of Apple operating system. Because it was already, when we were testing this the other day, it was already installed on my computer. I don't recall downloading it from the Windows Store. So hopefully it's pre-installed. Microsoft owns Skype now, so chances are if you got like the latest update, you may have it. But who knows? We'll see how it goes. This is our new tech. This is what we're trying out. This is just our test run. As you can see, it's a preseason BTH live. So, and we're hoping, yeah, I see LTK Music says nice audio quality. That's what we were hoping on, to get better sounding audio. I'm using a Shure SM7B. Cecil got some new technology on his side. So just trying to always improve beyond the harmony to bring the best to the guests.
Yeah, and I don't want to give too much about season 3 away, but notice we're using Skype, and it's more than to just improve the audio. So use your imagination on what else we could do with Skype. Well, you know what? I guess I'm going to have to say it, because if you call in, you're going to have the option, if you're just calling in or if you're going to be on video. If you call in and you choose to be on video, where you see that skull in the phone, that's going to become you. So make sure you're not sitting around in your boxer shorts just listening to me and John, because you could end up on the Beyond the Harmony little phone right there. But we are hoping that this will pave the way for us to do video all through season 3. Not with me and John, because who the fuck wants to look at me and John, but all these guests that you guys love, we want to have them on video, and we want to have you guys on cam as well when you call in. So, we have been working out season 3. I know you've seen me posting a lot. You've seen us talking a lot. John and I have been dropping some videos. We've been dropping some Brother Clay videos. Brother Clay just dropped a brand new single last night through Beyond the Harmony. You can now get it on digital download platforms like iTunes. I think it's on Google Play as well. And it's called Chronic 2020. So we dropped that last night. Make sure you guys check that out. Brother Clay's done a lot to help out our channel, including bringing us Smoke On and Misery. And we know those are 2 songs and videos that you guys love. And Brother Clay helped make that happen for us. So make sure you check out Chronic 2020 that we dropped last night. And then, of course, I don't think the night before, but the night before that, Johnny, I dropped my swan song, motherfucker. I dropped the big one. I dropped the Thugs Cry decoding video. Ooh. If you guys saw the Thugs Cry decoding video, let me know in the chat right now if you guys saw that. That was the big one for me, John. You know I harassed the shit out of you about that.
Yeah, no, that was the magnum opus. I mean, I hope there's more magnum opuses in the future, but this was definitely your best production I've ever seen done on a solo. You did that one pretty much all by yourself. I consulted you. We spoke. We shot ideas back and forth, and it wasn't just like this week. We've been talking about this video for years. I mean, even before Beyond the Harmony had a season 1, we've been talking about this. Yeah. So it was good to see it finally come to fruition. How does it feel now that you got that, that's been pent up in you, that story, and you finally got it out? What does it feel like now? How do you feel a few days later now that it's off of you and onto everybody else?
Well, first, I'm just going to let you know that, the latency did make a choppy video situation, which kind of sucked. We are very close. I just checked the audio on my phone, and we are within moments of what's being said on the live with them hearing it. So that piece is nice. Like, how there's usually like a 30-second delay between us and them.
Right. Yeah, no, that's definitely better, because when we have, like, when the chat room gets kind of big and we have multiple guests on here, it kind of gets confusing to follow along with what people are saying in the chat versus what's happening live. So I'm glad that we reduced that latency time reduction. That's a huge win. That's a huge positive, especially if we do more lives going forward.
I think it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt us video wise, though, is what's gonna happen. That's what I'm worried about, is that it's gonna hurt us video wise. which I don't want.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying.
The intro will be choppy, and
yeah.
But you know what though, we're gonna work through that. This is just the first test, and for now it's working. So let me get on to point. First of all, I want to say that I see Anthony in there saying he's waiting on a Too True interview. If you haven't checked out Archie's interview, make sure you check out Big Archie's interview. Shout out to Archie. Archie just got his kidney transplant. He's doing really well. Archie's been waiting on a list for that kidney transplant. And by the grace of God that came through, he had that. And Archie's doing really good, recovering. So much beyond the harmony love to Archie. And once Archie's up and doing better, I had actually talked to Archie in the off season, and he said that he would help hook up somebody from Too True, one of the 2 members of Too True, to come on. So hopefully that'll happen. I see Adrian said you're ready for the rest of that Romeo interview. I hope you checked out the part 2 that we released in the off season. And yeah, I'm getting ready to try to give y'all a third piece of that. It's been a touch and go situation, unfortunately, the Romeo interview, to give you guys that and make sure it's done the right way and that we're doing it effectively. But I am trying to get you guys as much of that as possible. And John's question was, how did that feel? Yeah, you know, that Thugs Cry decoding is something that I've talked about for a long time. Lots and lots of times I said, John, I got this video, I got this video, and you know, it's just, and you guys would know this now if you've seen it. You know, for it to be done right, I knew that it was going to be a really, really long process for me. Super long. I knew this was going to be a super, super long process, and you know, I wasn't ready to take it on. And finally, you know, and I started writing the script like last year, and I had lost part of the script, and I recovered it. And once I recovered it, I was like, all right, Johnny, I'm gonna knock this out. And then Johnny watched me work for about 2 weeks. I wrote the script for about a week, and then I edited for about a week, and there's about 60 hours into that video.
Yeah, and thankfully, you know, the fact that you lost the original script, it was a good thing that we were collaborating through different means, different accounts, and you were able to piece together enough of what you originally had, you know, to reproduce enough script so that you had the storyline. Yeah. So thankfully, you know, that's what's good about communicating outside of the normal forms of just phone calls. And it came out so good. I mean, it's flawless from beginning to end. I'm just so impressed with it, especially, I mean, you know, you weren't like professionally trained in how to do a lot of that stuff, and you just have a natural talent for everything, for voice narrations, for video editing, for art production, like all the different graphics you did, and then like cute little things that you put in there too, just like as such subtle things as the Machiavelli font, or other things that you did just to add that extra little touch. And then on top of all that, your storytelling capability was impeccable. So it was, you know, even though I'm your co-host, I'm your friend of 2 decades, it was enjoyable for me to, I always enjoy my friends doing stuff, and I really enjoy it when my friends do stuff good. So it was a treat for me to experience the final product, even though I got to see it throughout the whole production way. But getting that final product was awesome. So mad props to you. And you gave a gift to every Bone fan gets to see that video now and re-experience Thugs Cry with a new perspective.
Yeah, and you know, I'm going to say this, that you know, when you, first of all, spending that much time on something, you know, the whole time I was worried about the reception. How are people gonna, you know, take this? But the reception has been great, ultra positive. You know, people really loving it, and you know, that's great, because I appreciate that people appreciate it, because I worked that video like it was a motherfucking job to make sure that it was a grade A, not sloppy, well thought out. I really went over the the points a lot. I really went over what was going to be said, and I wanted it to make sense. And I like too that in the comments, like, some people are like, well, I think that the warden isn't Tamika. I think the warden is representational of, like, Sony, and the 513 may not be a Ohio thing. It may be there was a really good comment about it being like an angel number, and I was open to what everybody had to say, because it's just my interpretation. So no part of it is right, no part of it is wrong. When we're just trying to interpret what we think of it. The only parts that are obviously right are the parts that I was able to prove. Like, dude, how long did I work on just that bodyguard piece? But I knew what a big deal that fucking bodyguard piece is, and it was so crazy when I'm working on it. My initial thought was just like, yo, these two jail guards gotta mean the jail guard, the bodyguards that are always with Eazy-E. Like, it's got to be, right? Like, if the jail's ruthless, these two jail guards got to be the two, motherfuckers that are always with him. And of course, for me, I always thought of the Tavio twins, the Samoans, and as I looked more into it, I found out he had these other bouncers, these other bodyguards. I see the two bodyguards, and I'm like, man, that one motherfucking bodyguard looks a lot like the jail guard. And then I start asking around. I talked to Silky Fine. Shout out to Silky Fine that helped with the video. She confirms that the bodyguards with Eric, one of them is named Animal. I'm talking to Houdini Black. He tells me all the 7 Sign guys that were on set, and he's like, yeah, Busy Bones bodyguard Animal. And I'm like, what the fuck? Easy and him both had a bodyguard named Animal? I'm like, no fucking way. Like, there's something more here. So I talked to Baby Phil, and I'm like, bro, what are the chances that they're the same animal? And he's like, well, look, he's like, I know his bodyguard, Busy's bodyguard, played the jail guard. And I'm like, oh shit. So he does a little digging. He finds out, he's like, yeah, Busy's animal used to be Eric's animal. And that blew my mind, bro. I was like, holy shit. I thought that the jail guards represented Eric's bodyguards, but one of them really was one of Eric's bodyguards.
Yeah, man. What I liked too was the collaboration that you got from everybody else, like you mentioned, with Baby Phil and Houdini Black, and I think you spoke to a couple other people, and that really kind of got the juices flowing for the season 3, just reconnecting with everybody.
Yeah.
And yeah. And what's funny too is I see Jason Reinhardt mentioned, he said that the video was great, and that the video kind of reminds him of BTH fan vids, which we've looked at those BTH fan vids too, and that also has been kind of like a thing that we've been trying to like play at the same level that they were bringing it on those few videos they made. They made that awesome Down 71, as well as like the top disses to Bone.
Yeah, I love those. They were actually in there during the Thugs Cry premiere, and I chop it up with them, and I'm hoping that you see collaborations between us and them this season. I'd love to see a collaboration between us and Crystal from LoyalBoneFans.com. Even like YTV, who's like a big Bone supporter, was in there checking it out. And YTV has like 100,000 plus subscribers, and they were checking out the Thugs Cry video. So not only am I hoping this season that you see us obviously interviewing some great Bone related people, but also I want to see us collaborate more with other BTH Fanbids is a great channel, and so is Loyal Bone Fans. Loyal Bone Fans, I don't know if you've seen those videos, John, but she does like some videos that, like, there was just one on Gemini, and she just goes over the singles and when it was released and what was sold and shit, and they're really good. If you haven't seen any of her videos, like, they're simple, they're to the point, but they're fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, I've seen them. It's kind of like an overview of the albums, almost like a Wikipedia article.
Yeah.
into like a video about each album, and I think that's a pretty good idea. Especially, like to old fashioned Bone fans, it's like, yeah, no kidding. But imagine, you're a young kid and you want to just get the facts about an album. You hear about an album because there's so many Bone albums that not just Bone Thugs and Harmony, but the entire collection that just trying to keep up with it all. Imagine coming into it, not being there from the beginning. Those videos out there will provide an excellent resource for new Bone fans.
Yeah. No, she does a great job. So
one of the things too, well, actually, I don't want to go off Thugs Cry because we're still kind of on that topic. I think the time away that we had in this off season, there's Calvin Butts on screen right there. I was going to say something about the Calvin Butts. I actually had it in my notes here. So Calvin Butts and C. Dolores Tucker were once ridiculed by hip hop and may even still be to this day. But I'm starting to see, like, as we are all growing older now and becoming a little bit more mature, having kids, I now see people kind of looking back on Calvin Butts and C. Dolores Tucker with a different perspective, saying, maybe we probably should have taken some of their advice. I don't know if you recall. Well, obviously Calvin Butts, you'll know from the video, but do you remember C. Dolores Tucker and the big controversy? She was trying to shut down rap music, gangster rap.
I think I was real young for that.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I know of it like secondhand, like through like didn't Tupac tell her to like fuck herself?
Yeah, and like Ice Cube on the song with Scarface, he's like, "Till the Reverend Calvin Butts got a pair of nuts, keep dissing me." And so, at the time I took the side of Ice Cube and Tupac and Crazy Bone, but now, like, watching some of these Tupac hoax vids, it's asking the question, like, were we just young and immature, or were they right, or nah, gangster rap for life? So I don't know. I'm just throwing the idea out there because I'm seeing a little shift in consciousness. I'm not saying either side is right or wrong. I'm just saying I'm seeing. It seems like everybody's starting to grow up and starting to question.
If they hated shit back then, if they got a load of some of this bullshit in hip hop now, they would. You think they were against Bone and shit like that? Kevin Stark's in the building. Brother Clay in the building. Brother Clay, we were just talking about you. Chronic 2020 dropped last night on Beyond the Harmony, beyondtheharmony.com. And you guys can now check that out. I know we just dropped it through iTunes, and it should be available on all streaming media platforms. Brother Clay in the chat. And
yeah, and I was telling you, Cecil, I don't know if you saw the message because you were busy trying to put this thing together, but Clay sent some fire to my email. So that's an under wraps that's kind of leaked right now. We got something big coming from Brother Clay and his team with Grease Style Worldwide. And Brother Clay, if you hear this right now and you wanted to call in and just do some chopping it up, drop whatever you got going, it's Skype Beyond the Harmony 99 at gmail.com. Hit it up and Cecil will bring you in here. Yeah. Same with everybody else in the chat below. If you want to get in on the call, do the damn thing on Skype. But Brother Clay's got fire coming in 2020. Beyond the Harmony's got fire in 2020. The off season provided exactly what I had hoped. We got so much work now that we're not going to even be able to get to it all. If we do this season right, season 3 is going to dwarf season 1 and 2. But we'll have to see how it goes. But things are looking real good right now for Beyond the Harmony.
Yeah. This was a longer break between 1 and 2. 1 and 2, there was still like a long break between 1 and 2, but this is like, I think we started season 2 in like January last year, and what ended up happening was we cut that shit off. Yeah, I got a lead on Wish. Rocky Rock is actually my connect there, so we'll see what happens there. There's nothing official on it, but I think John and I did not give ourselves enough break time between 1 and 2. And if you guys remember, season 1 was like, we had no idea what a season was. So we just kept doing episodes. And then we were at 20, 30 fucking episodes, whatever it was. And it's just 20 episodes, right, John? Season 1?
Something like that. It was the never ending story.
Yeah. So then I was just like, I was blown out. I was super blown out.
And you had a big thing coming up.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Huge thing. We did like a 2-hour, 3-hour off-season live about it. Like that's how big it was.
Yeah. And it's crazy. During that time, and we talked about in the off-season, that we did. Thanks, guys. I've been working hard on the artwork. The season 3 artwork is gonna be so fire. It's so motherfucking fire. Y'all do not even understand. I've been formulating everything. So I appreciate that y'all appreciate the artwork, because I work really hard to give it that bone look, but still that new Beyond the Harmony look. And yeah, I'm just excited about everything. We are switching things up for the call-in. I know for a bunch of you it's probably easier to just call a number. A lot of people had issues with that, though, because you had to call a number, you had to call a bridge, you had to do a lot of different shit to get in. So it's a little bit different, and I'm really hoping that one of you decides to, Therese, it was all an impromptu thing. We just decided to jump on and do this and try this out. That's what I was just talking about. I hope somebody decides to call in. I want to see how it works. It's really easy to call in tonight. You just got to get Skype on your phone or on your computer. And on Skype, add us, beyondtheharmony99@gmail.com. Add me and send me a message. Let me know you want to come on the show, and we'll bring you on the show. Remember that if you come on the show and your camera's on, that everybody's going to see you on the camera. But we're hoping that these improvements not only will, give us better sound quality, which you guys are experiencing right now, which is great. When we started the show, we had superb audio quality, but the way that we had to go about doing that was the most long, strenuous fucking part of like my week, and it made me hate doing Beyond the Harmony because there was so much editing. So then we started doing it the way that you guys heard for the rest of season 2, or the rest of season 1 and all of season 2, and it fucking, it worked, but it wasn't great. So now here we are, and we're trying this. It does take away our ability to do it through a number, but Skype's really easy to get, and
so I wanted to bring up too that during a lot of stuff took place during that Thugs Cry video. One of the things we were talking one night, I mean, you were doing your thing on your side, but I was talking to you, and I discovered, I never knew it existed. Someone sent me a Facebook link about this thing called Tiny Desk. It's like NPR puts it on, and they're getting, and as I'm watching it, Tech Nine and Chris Calico were on there. Their performance was phenomenal. T-Pain, I never seen him sing without autotune. If you've never seen that T-Pain Tiny Desk, it's amazing.
Dude can sing, right?
But he can sing, man, with such soul. I don't know why he ever used autotune. He's got a beautiful voice. But as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, man, if Bone Thugs and Harmony had a Tiny Desk, man, that would be a big deal, because it seems like that Tiny Desk has a pretty good audience.
I would love that.
Like,
I love that. It reminds me of, back in the day when I was a kid, MTV did Unplugged, and I used to love MTV Unplugged, especially for hip hop. It was really good for anybody, but like hip hop, it was like, I remember LL Cool J doing it. I was real young, and then I remember fucking Jay-Z doing it, and it was just like, he did it with the Roots band. It was so good. So
yeah, and it's fun. I watched I ended up binging that night. I was supposed to help you out with stuff, and I ended up binging those Tiny Desks. I didn't see them all, but I saw Rakim, and his was good. I saw Big Daddy Kane, and Kane's was great. I saw the first one I saw was a guy. He did a song with Crazy Bone. I think he's from Philadelphia. Oh, man, I can't remember his name, but his was good too. His flow was so on point. I saw the Jizza. Man, the guy I'm trying to think of. Was it Freddie Gibbs? Freddie Gibbs is the guy's name. Freddie
Yeah.
Gibbs. Is there a rap? Yeah, I think it was him. It was either him or this other guy, but he was good. Like we had this live band. It almost sounded like a freestyle, but it was his breath control was on point. He was on beat, and it lasted like a 5-minute verse. He was killing it. So I'm just advertising Tiny Desk to any hip hop fans. If you've never seen the Tiny Desk NPR, just type it into YouTube. All the performances have been amazing. And as you watch it, you'll just be thinking, someday we're going to see Bone Thugs and Harmony on this thing, and it's going to be killer.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be and I think that kind of stuff would be good for them anyway. You know, that would expand them to. I would say that Busy's the best at the new wave of social media. In my eyes, like he seems to do the best. He does the most. I mean, Crazy Bone does a lot, but like, I mean, fucking Periscope's kind of like an old thing to me. Like Periscope was like the first shit. I really think that Busy does the best, but that's me getting off. The real point of this is I think something like Tiny Desk for Bone would be great. Who knows if it would be the whole group? You know that we haven't been seeing Busy at shows with Bone for a while, and that's such a, you know, it's tough to tell what's going on there. Usually it's real clear Busy is or isn't with the group, or for that matter any of them, when they've taken their hiatuses from the group, it's really unclear what's going on. Busy seems real supportive of Bone Thugs and Harmony. Bone just signed with Uncle Snoop's touring, which is definitely going to give them more great shows. But, you know, I saw that Busy shared that, even though he hasn't been doing shows with them. And then most recently, you saw that I sent you that, John, that Busy posted a old picture of all 5 members of Bone. It's like Eternal Era. It's an Eternal Era photo, I believe, maybe like between Eternal and Art of War. And it said Revolution 2024, if I remember. Yep. And there's a lot of speculation on what that means. Shout out 1985 Gemini, I see in the building. Jeremy Jones in the building.
Yeah, so one of the things that may mean, I don't know for sure what 2024 is, but one of the things from talking with Excel Beats of him trying to do stuff with Busy, he heard that Busy is actually booked through 2024. So maybe, and I can't imagine Busy's calendar is completely packed until 2024, but that's one of the, I seen that theory proposed online and it matched what I heard offline. So, you know, maybe that's the deal. Who knows? But 2024, that's 4 years away.
Yeah.
So we'll finally get a full, all 5-member Bone album 4 years from now. I mean, what? They're going to be like 50 years old at that point.
Well, let me ask you a question. As a Bone fan who wants a Bone album, because I assume you want a Bone album. I want a Bone album. These solos are fucking great. I've heard all the fucking solo. You know what I mean? Like, great. As a Bone fan, at this point right now, would you feel like it was sufficient if you got a Bone album without Busy, but the other 4? Would that feed the need? It obviously wouldn't be 100% what you want, but would that be like, yes, that works, or would that be like, nah, I don't want it unless it's all 5? You might as well keep doing solo if it isn't the 5 of you.
I know everybody out there is probably going to want all 5. I'm the rare, maybe the only guy that I was happy with Strength and Loyalty. In fact, I thought it was going to be that way going forward. And in my mind, I thought, well, if this is, because Flesh was in jail at the time. So I was like, all right, if this is what it takes to get a Bone album, you know, so long as it's on that par with Strength and Loyalty versus Thug Stories, because it's amazing what production does for you. You know, if you compare Thug Stories to Strength and Loyalty, although there's a lot of people that like Thug Stories better than Strength and Loyalty, but I'm more of like that production, the full engineering aspect. And so I'm cool with it, and especially if they have 4 members. And there's even like a lot of good songs like Facts Don't Lie, not with Ty Wise, but the Facts Don't Lie. Busy's only on that song a tiny little bit at the end. And if Unique produces the album, you know, if it's done right, I can live. Although that busy part at the end of Facts Don't Lie, it makes the song. It's like the dessert. Even though it's just a short little thing at the end, it does make that song feel complete. But that song is so good, and Busy's barely on it. So the four guys could hold it down if that's all they could get. So if they drop an album with all four before the 2024, all five, I'm fine. I'll take anything I could get as a group effort. Anytime they're together as a group, we get quality material. When even the unreleased Bone songs, like there's not too many bad unreleased, and they're released now. But the mixtape songs and the ones on the ones that come out later on, they're all pretty good. Like All on You, they're still good. They can't make a bad song when they all collaborate together. So I'll take all four. I'd like all five, but I'll take all four. What about you?
That's tough. It's tough because, during the off season, you heard my plea that it's like, this is the time, right? We need an album.
Yeah.
That's tough because, like, yeah, I'm ready for a group album, but I don't want to sit through another album going, wow, Busy would have sounded really good on this song.
Yeah.
and that's what it's gonna be, right? Like, I'd get this album, I'd be really happy with what it was, but the entire time we'd just be going, bro, Busy would sound really good on this. So it's like,
yeah, if it's called, let me clarify. I want it to be, if the album's called The Revolution or whatever Busy called it, he's got to be on it. But I'm saying I would gladly accept a teaser between now and 2024 of the four guys while we wait on Busy Bone to clear his calendar. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, obviously, like, I prefer all five.
There's a tons of logistics that me as a fan that I can't understand, right? So I'm sure there's a ton of logistics that I don't understand, as to why they don't do this. But for me, I'm like, yo, Bone, meaning the four of them, are touring all the fucking time. I see somebody live streaming on my account every fucking night from a different place. So I'm like, all right, well, these four got all this time to tour. Now, Busy's doing a tour. A lot of you probably know, but I'm a show promoter outside of this. And so I book shows, I book tours, and I immediately got an inbox that they were booking a Busy tour. It's like the second part of Carbon Monoxide for like September. So they got time for tours. Make a fucking album. Make a fucking album. Do you know how long it's been since Flesh and Bone got out of jail, bro?
Yeah. It's like 2009, 2010.
Make a motherfucking album already. Or it doesn't even have to be an album because unfortunately, as much as I love a classic album, the day of the classic album is kind of come and gone. Start hitting me with some singles. You know what? Let's move this. Let's move this in nice and slow. Give me a brand new single. With all five.
Well, it was All on You by Flesh and Bone. I think all five were on that, right? It's All on You, and It's All on You. That song, I think it had all five. But yeah.
Kevin, I would say that the process is stressful, but like the process of making as somebody that's made a lot of albums and I've done them with groups with guys that I consider, brothers, like that process is, you go in there and you make fucking music. You don't keep it all. I'm sure the process surrounding them is the stressful part, which is, do we leave the road to do this? Do we do this? What's the budget? Where's the budget come from? Bone Thugs and Harmony are completely independent. It's not like they have a giant label behind them right now, and I think that part makes it tough. That part makes it tough because, you know, I thought Carbon Monoxide was a great album, but, you know, Carbon Monoxide was released through Busy and Blaze. So it's not getting the push that it should probably get. It got a great push. I thought that was like, you know, Blaze did a great job behind the scenes giving that push, but it wasn't the major label push. And I would say that's probably the missing part right there for them is, does it make sense for the 5 of them to sit back, spend all that time making an album for it to not do what the fuck it's supposed to do?
So here's a question then. You know, we frequently ask this question about 4 and 5 members, and we talk about strength and loyalty and whatnot, but was Thug World Order, does anybody bitch that Flesh wasn't on Thug World Order aside from that interlude? You know what I mean? Like is Thug World Order not a full 5-member Bone album because there was no Flesh, or is it because Flesh is the 5th dog that Flesh isn't required and really is just Crazy, Lazy, Busy, and Wish required, and Flesh is always optional? Like, well, I want to know how what's the Flesh factor here?
I think at that time that was more acceptable. I think that was more acceptable at that time, given his contract and, you know, all that. But I don't think now it wouldn't be acceptable. I think if they made an album, the 4 of them, meaning the 4 of them and not Flesh, I don't think it would be acceptable now. Back then, yes, but I mean, I wouldn't feel good about that either. If Cray, Lay, Biz, and Wish were like, yeah, we're gonna put out an album and no Flesh, I would feel the same fucking way that I feel about it with no Busy right now. Back then it was different. The label was different, jail situation was different, everything was different. It was totally acceptable. But when he went to jail, they got off Ruthless. From there forward, it's all 5 or die.
And I'm surprised because I still remember, like, it was only a year ago when Flesh got out. He seemed so fired up to make so much stuff happen. The World's Enemy came out, but you know, we've seen 10 years now. This is a decade, and think about what you and I have done just in our little music careers over the last 10 years, and we don't have the infrastructure that Bones got. And the fact that we've only really got one album, The World's Enemy, in 10 years. I guess Bone Thugs counts, and I guess World War III counts, but I mean, am I saying this right? Have they really only released one album in 10 years?
Well, I mean, it depends on what you count, bro. It depends on what you count. Like
as a group, I'm talking like the group Bone Thugs and Harmony, credited to Bone Thugs and Harmony. In 10 years, I could say...
You count the Art of War, World War III. Most people...
Well, that's what I said. Yeah, but I don't think that's... I think that's as real of an album as THUGS.
That's not true. It was going to be a really real album, and it would have been a really great album, and then things got all fucked up. And then that album got shelved, and then it got pulled off the shelf, and that's how... The pulling of it off the shelf is how we ended up with the cuts from Thug Stories and Strength and Loyalty to fill it out. But all those original songs, I remember when those clips dropped, DJ Unique dropped those clips. And I thought that was Busy Bone at, like, his finest for a long time at that time. And it was supposed to be the whole group. And then, some shit happened. Crazy and Wish stepped out at that time. But so my point is, that would have been a real album. But you're right, it technically isn't. It wasn't finished off like a real album. The only real album is Unified, which dropped in 2010.
And Kevin points out New Waves. So New Waves kind of counts.
That doesn't count. Fuck that. That doesn't count. Does Bone Brothers fucking 1 through 47 count as a Bone Thugs and Harmony album? Like, it's the same fucking thing. It's Bone Brothers with Crazy and Busy. Like, it's a crock of shit that they called it that. And you know I'm a New Waves fan, but I fucking hate that they called it Bone Thugs. It shouldn't count as a Bone Thugs and Harmony album. It should count as a fucking side thing.
Well, it had Crazy and Busy on it, so like, if it's crazy and busy, it's because everything else is either crazy or busy, and here we had both. So okay, but even if let's just say we give it New Waves, we give it World War III, and we give it The World's Enemy. That's still 3 albums over the course of a decade in a time period where, I mean, there's nothing technologically or budget-wise that's stopping them.
All right, but let's call it what it really is. It's 1 album in 10 fucking years.
Yeah, okay.
let's not dick around, because the Art of War and New Waves don't count. These solos don't count. Bone Thugs and Harmony as a fucking group, we got 1 album in 10 years. And I'll tell you this. If I'm Bone, I think there was some shell shock that The World's Enemy wasn't the grand slam that I think they thought it would be, that we thought it would be. And I re-listened to The World's Enemy. I remember in 2010 when it came out, you and I did the original Beyond the Harmony, and we really shit on Unified. And I re-listened to it, and the album's good, but it still isn't what you expected after not hearing a real Bone Thugs and Harmony album since like 2000, 2002, and even those are broken up. The Art of War, was really the last time that you were getting like that's not true. Like, it's just like Unified just wasn't what it should have been, and they had all the things to make it, the think tank.
Yeah.
They had everything that they needed to make it like that. We got some.
Therese is asking. He's having some technical difficulty getting onto the Skype. So Therese, I mean, kind of give us a little bit more of what you're experiencing there. Beyond the Harmony 99 at gmail.com. Make sure you're using Skype and not Skype for Business and not Microsoft Teams. It's got to be Skype. Gemini's got a good point. It didn't hurt NWA. Although it did, man. I was a hardcore NWA fan, and without Ice Cube at the beginning, I was like, oh man, but on 100 Miles and Running and the one that came after that, I did love those albums front to back, but I really missed Ice Cube being in it. But I was like, as long as Eazy-E is in there, I could deal with it. And okay, Therese found it, so that's good. And then we also had a question from Jeremy Jones. He said, everyone in the chat, my eyes, I gotta get glasses. Performing as a 5-man unit and taking so long dropping a new album with all 5 members, will it hurt their chances at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I think that has to do with criteria, and I think their touring right now is part of meeting the criteria for the Hall of Fame. And I think I think what hurt them is that Flesh needs to be able to get a passport, because I think they need to do a certain amount of world tours in order to qualify. That's what I heard, like in watching all these interviews and videos about it, is a lot of it had to do with the passport. And when I think Flesh got turned down, I think that kind of put a halt on that effort to get in that Hall of Fame. But then again, I don't remember NWA doing any super world tours, and they made it. So I don't know. And I asked Busy Bone about it as well, and he didn't seem like, I was asking him, hey, what's the criteria? Because if you give us the criteria, I could pass it on to the fans, and then we could exercise our efforts and resources to make sure that we help you guys all along the way. But he didn't. It didn't seem to be on his mind at that time to get into it.
Yeah. I don't think the thing that's hurting Bone for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and this is the fucked up thing, and I address it a little bit in the Thugs Cry breakdown, but they are not considered. If you look at the rappers in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, even though as a group, like, we consider them on the level as everybody that's got in there, industry-wise, I don't feel like they're taken, serious at that level, which is a fucking shame, because this is, as we proved with the Bone Thugs and Harmony 25-year discussion, they in some way have dropped a song every fucking year for 25 years. They've toured, at least one of them has toured every year for 25 years. If any rap group is rock and roll, it's Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Yeah, absolutely. And that we've even had a few people like Romeo Antonio and others vouch for Bone being rock and roll. And even back in the day when I used to play my uncle some Bone songs, I played him the one Little Easy with Bone Thugs and Harmony. It's not a game.
Yeah.
And my uncle doesn't like rap at all. He's into metal and rock, but he was listening to the song and he goes, "Hey man, this is a metal song." He's like, they're not singing in metal, but the chord progression and the way the instrumental flows on this song, this is metal right here. Mm-hmm. He's like, so I'm really digging this track. And with Romeo Antonio and showing Trent Reznor the Graveyard Shift album. And what was also amazing was we never connected these dots. I was going through the Bobby Jones interview to create that Mo Monday, and Bobby said that he learned Pro Tools from Trent Reznor. So Trent Reznor had a big impact on both Bobby Jones and Romeo Antonio. I don't know if you caught that when you were talking to Bobby, but he mentioned that he also, much like Romeo, had interacted with Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails.
That's who trained him, bro. I had asked him, was it different when you left Cleveland and they got you into LA from Mo Thugs? Was it like a substantial upgrade? And he's like, nah, bro, I was learning the game from Trent Reznor. I think Therese is trying to get through. I think we finally got him. Let me see if I can add him in here.
Okay.
Let's see.
So while you're working that, I don't remember if it was Therese, and he may actually ask us this. Somebody, I think it was Therese, they had a few questions of the day that they wanted us to do that, and it pertains to something somebody said in the comments was reaction videos by Bone, or reaction videos of Bone Thugs and Harmony, and that it seems like everybody's doing reaction videos on Bone. I just thought of a paradox of, has anybody done a reaction of a reaction video yet? And I did notice that even this week, I put the filter on for YouTube to see how many Bone videos got uploaded this week, and like half of them were Bone Thugs and Harmony reaction videos. So there's a lot of Bone reaction videos. His question had to do with, do you feel that it's authentic? Do you think people are just doing it for the clicks, or are they doing it for the love? I think it's a little bit of half and half.
I hate reaction videos so much.
The first reaction video I ever saw.
Punch people in the fucking face.
The one I loved, and it's really the only one I really watched, and it was before the reaction videos became a thing. Like now it's a YouTube pastime, but I don't remember the guy's name, but he reviewed All I'll Ever Know by Busy Bone and Excel Beats, and like I felt like that was a real authentic first time hearing it, and his actual reaction was appropriate, and he even pointed out, he's like, the blending between Busy and Excel's voice, it's like it's like pairing wine with the perfect meal. So like that, when it first happened, when reaction videos first began, I thought it was cool and I thought it was authentic. Now, now everybody's just grinding them out.
I'm going to try to bring Therese in. Let's see if this works.
Okay.
Let's see if this works.
And if it's not genuine, as long as it's like I've seen somebody. What's interesting is when young people review Bone.
Yo, what's going on, yo?
Yo, there he is, brother. What's good? We got you through.
Man, I'm so happy to be on. How everybody feeling?
Feeling good, man. Getting ready for this new season. And it's good to see that, we got some listeners like yourself that have been listening from the beginning, gearing up to do this next season with us.
Yes, indeed. I can't wait.
Yeah, and Therese, you had a couple of questions. That was one of them. So we just kind of talked about it briefly on the reaction videos. Cecil doesn't like it. I'm cool with them. I've enjoyed some of them. What's your take on the reaction videos by Bone that are out there? Not by Bone, but about Bone.
I'm the same with both of y'all. Like I like them, but then there's some that I don't like, because I like when it's authentic, when it's somebody that's never heard of them before, and they just, you know what I'm saying, that they want to know what their music and see a real reaction. But like I started to notice, I'm like, okay, it's a lot of these popping up, and I'm like, I know how YouTube is when it's a lot of people when somebody doing something and it's gets a lot of clicks and a lot of views, then everybody wants to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had caught somebody that did one, and it was fake. I knew it was fake because I'm watching them and they acting like they just heard the song. It was Thuggish Ruggish Bone. And I'm like, I know damn well you done heard Thuggish Ruggish Bone. You look older than me. So I know damn well you Thuggish Ruggish Bone before. And he like kind of slipped up because he like his lips moved where he repeated a line. And I'm like, okay, now I see what's going on. It's people out here using the Bone Thugs and Harmony like fandom. They know that they have a fan base out there. And so they want to get the fan base to come view their stuff to get their clicks and their views up and then go on to other things.
Yeah.
So
I feel that as well. I can't think of, I don't know the user's name. Somebody sent it to me and they were like, oh, he reacts to it. And I guess he kind of shit on Bone a little bit. And, but people were like, oh, I guess he's not really lying. And he was like, he was basically saying like, oh, y'all think this flow is unique. Oh, you think this is special. And I was like, bro, you're watching a video from 1994 reacting to it in 2020. Like, yeah, now that we got 100 different people rapping like Bone, I don't think it's unique or special. I thought it was unique and special for the last 20 fucking years when they were the only person that was doing it. I see a lot of young kids. There's a lot of young kids that do these reaction videos. And unfortunately, that's what you get is they'll hear Busy Bone and then they compare Busy to 20 rappers right now, and they're like, this guy ain't special. And I'm like, bro, this is the guy that brought it for these people.
Yeah, I think it doesn't hurt though. I mean, it's free publicity, and it'll bring Bone to a new fan base. Imagine you never heard of Bone, and you see that they're doing a Bone reaction video, and you actually get to hear the song. So even though people may be using it for clicks and whatever, I think in the end it's an ultimate win for Bone to always get the different demographics, different audiences, because there's no real record companies pushing Bone right now unless they do a song, with some famous artist that's on the label. So I think even though for the hardcore Bone fans like us, you don't like to see the name get worn and used and abused, but at the same time, that's marketing and it's pretty clever. And just think about it. Blaze wanted everybody to do reaction videos to Carbon Monoxide to help promote it. And so, Blaze is pretty good with the marketing. So he was thinking it correctly. The more people doing reactions, the more it creates, awareness for Bone and Busy and everybody else.
Hey, shout out to 1985 Gemini. She just did a $5 super chat. We appreciate that. You guys know that every dollar that lands through super chat or through any of our videos, we cycle directly back into the show to bring you a bigger and better show. If you want to help support like 1985 Gemini, hit that super chat button.
Speaking of that, Cecil, do you got any giveaways coming in season 3?
I don't know. The giveaways seem to be hit or miss. The problem was I was spending a lot of time, a lot of money, making sure we had great giveaways, and they seem kind of like our hardcore fans really loved them, but they weren't reaching what I wanted them to reach. So I think we'll do some in season 3, but we're going to do them a little bit different. Season 3 is all about progression. We are steadily progressing. So I do think the answer is yes, but they'll be done in a new, different, hopefully more exciting way.
So that vintage piece that you wanted me to buy there, I guess you decided to keep it.
Oh, well,
is that what you're saying?
I think you're right. If that fit me, bro, that would be me all day. No, I think I do think we're gonna open a Beyond the Harmony store that we're gonna include some some really nice stuff in, and so
that's right.
Yeah, so we'll probably have a Beyond the Harmony store that'll feature some really rare items, and my hope with that is to be able to get rare items and put them up for people at a price that doesn't soak them. I look at the price of some shit and I'm like, this is fucking crazy. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars for Busy Bone, Thugs Cry singles and shit.
By the way, we still got Therese on the line,
Yeah,
right?
we do.
Yes, yes, indeed. I'm on the line.
So Therese, there was another question you had that you asked me in the off season. I think it was, what about when everybody asks where's Busy? Are they sincerely asking the question, or are they trolling, or is it something else? Do you want to elaborate on that, or ask it, or give a take on that?
Yeah, I was basically saying like I know that that's not sincere. I know that people are I wanted to address that fact that there are fake fans out there. Like not so much to say that they're not fans, but like people that want to see toxicness. Like they want to create drama. Sneak. They like it's kind of like sneak dissing. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're a Bone Thugs fan, I'm not. I'm pretty sure everybody's not a day one Bone fan, but I feel like the ones that's asking this question, it's like they already know what they doing. They asking these questions to put Bone in a place to the point where they have to explain why Busy is absent and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like and I like like toxic fans just creating drama somewhere that doesn't need to exist. And so
I think some of it's drama. I mean, I do think some of it's a genuine. I don't think every fan is asking lazy where Busy is to create drama. I do think some of them want to know. I think it's weird. I think it's weird when we ask Lazy Bone where's Busy when you can just go onto Busy social media and say, yo, where the fuck you at? But I do think some of it's genuine. If you're lazy or any of them for that matter, though, you probably get sick of that fucking question. Where's Busy? Where's Busy? Where's Busy? Because they must be like, bro, Busy's always got the fucking door open. Ask Busy why he's not here.
Yeah, but I was wondering too, like when Therese had asked about it, I was almost wondering if it was part of like culture. You know how like there's like, hey, up in the building, or you say something all the time. It felt like where's Busy became almost like a joke, like a recurring joke that's going on.
Like they heckling Bone and shit like that. Like
it was like a heckling or like heckling, or even like just like I'm trying to think of a good example, but something you just say all the time just to break someone's balls. Not quite heckling, but just like pointing out the obvious. I don't know.
Right.
What do you guys think? What does everybody think about that? The where's Busy in the chat? Do you think it's heckling? Do you think it's trolling?
Well,
do you think they're genuinely asking?
It is a little confusing though, right? Because here's why. Because there was the big gap of where's Busy, and then all of a sudden we started to see Busy in a bunch of shit. I mean, Busy was in that ASAP Ferg, song and video. Like all of a sudden, Busy was around for a bunch of shit. Like it seemed like the five of them were back on it. Busy was doing some shows. I mean, it's not like he never came back. Like Busy was like back. I think after like the New Waves album and shit, like he was back in it, and then all of a sudden it was kind of like a fallout again, or he just went away, or whatever the fuck it is.
Do you guys watch, do Therese or anybody, any of you guys, do you guys watch the Busy Bone show with Jake Has, the reality show? Every now and then I tune in, but I don't religiously watch it. And I feel bad. Like I feel like I'm a bad fan. Is it a requirement that we're supposed to be watching the Busy reality show?
I don't watch that shit.
Not for me, not really. I mean, I'll watch it every once in a while, depending on like what it, like if it's a tour type of thing, or he in a studio or something. But like on his everyday life, I don't really watch because I'm one of the fans where I really, don't want to know what's going on in your personal life. I just want the music and the product, and I like to see you doing the creative side of putting together the music or putting together a show. I like that kind of stuff, so I don't get into his personal.
That's rare, but that's the sign of I think an older, an old school fan versus. There's so many fans now that I swear they don't even care about the music. They want to know, what Lil drug addict or whatever their name might be is eating for breakfast, and they really don't care about the music. So it's kind of refreshing to hear somebody say, "Look, I don't give a fuck what you're doing every day. I wanna know what's up with some music."
What about Therese? Did you get a chance to see the the Bone pilot reality show that they came out with when Bone for Life, the EP album came out. They had like one episode. Busy wasn't in it physically. He was only in it through the voicemail.
I remember
Yeah.
him and
Now,
Lacey going back and forth on the phone.
yeah. Now, if that pilot kind of became the Bone Thugs and Harmony reality show, would that be more appealable to you than Busy and Jay Kaz's personal life, or even that's too much?
I would have been watching that because from what I seen from that, they was in the studio, so I would have been watching that. Like, yeah, because it was the group, and like I said, the images that I seen and clips that I seen, they was in the studio, and Busy just wasn't there in the studio, so I would have tuned into that to see, okay, like I'm interested in seeing how they come up with this creatively and stuff like that. So yeah. But I don't care about, like, you know, I think it's good that he's a cook and he's vegan, but I don't care about that. That's
Well, yeah, this week, I don't know if it was this week, but I saw last week. It was like Crazy Bones was in like the studio listening to Most Children unreleased, and there was another song that played. Did you get a chance to see that, Terez?
Yeah, I got a chance to see that had popped up on my suggestions, and that I'm glad that came out, and I heard that because it was like a breath of fresh air. Like, oh, so they do have songs back then from that time period that we haven't heard before. So I love that.
Yeah, and Cecil, you got a chance to see that too, right?
I was answering questions in the chat. What was that?
I was asking about the Mo Thug Children, Crazy Bone, listening to it.
Holy fuck, bro. I sent it to you, I think. Yeah, that echo should go away. That was my bad, guys. Yeah, that fucking... Did it go away? Did the... Okay, cool. See, this is me testing it for what's going to happen in the future. I'm going to have to... What a fucking bitch this is. Okay. I loved that. And you could tell how raw that was because if you were listening, he was like, yo, your vocals are on top of each other. It's almost like Busy went in and laid something down and then Crazy went, and, you know, it was so pre-production. But when they play something like that, when I hear something like that song, I'm like, bro, someone fucking mix this and put this out. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
If you have 10 of these, if there's 10 songs like this sitting around, you motherfuckers don't have to record anything. Mix that shit, put it out. We all gonna buy that 100%.
I would crack up if they had, because from all the people we talked to, we know there's tons of unreleased material, and if they collected at least, you know, a full album's worth and then presented it like they just recorded it, I'd crack up. I'd definitely buy it for sure, but it would be funny to see them promote an album that never really existed and it was never intended to be as such, but acted as if they just made it, and somehow they had the ability to make the music and the lyrics sound just like they did back then. But yeah, there's so much stuff out there. I don't know why. How could they? Can you imagine sitting on all this stuff for all these years and just being cool with it?
So many of them. Bone sits on it. Archie's got a bunch. Romeo's got a bunch. DeMiz's got a bunch. I mean, there is a fucking... There's more unreleased Bone gems than we'll ever hear ever. Albums and albums and albums worth. I mean, just Archie alone, you know, when I was talking to Archie has a ton of just shit from that time period. We're talking 96 and back.
Did you see how when Crazy heard that track "Come On," you almost saw his like eyes light up, like, oh man, this is some good stuff. This one's old, but it was good, man. It's a really good song. It's amazing that nobody pushed to have that one come out. And you think about all the people that have paid to get albums.
He said, I don't even think they know what they have. Crazy was like, you said, I have a verse on here. Yeah, it's true. Like they forget. And then he started playing it, and you saw though, like Crazy's a genius. He forgot he had it, and then they start playing it, and then all of a sudden he knew the fucking words, bro. I'm like, this guy's a beast.
I love Crazy, like when he be going through like all these old songs, unreleased songs that we never heard before, and then like the songs will start playing, and it's just like he just know the words, and I'll be amazed by that because like we heard it before. So like, how do you even know it?
Yeah.
It's like it shows how I don't know.
He's made so many songs. It's like, how could you possibly remember the lyrics to over 1,000 songs? That's mind blowing.
I just want to remind everybody, if you want to call in and chop it up with us the way Therese is, all you got to do is get Skype and add us Beyond the Harmony 99 at gmail.com. Add us, and we're going to call you in. You can call in and you can just talk to us like a regular one, or if you want to call in and be on video, hit the video button, and we're going to bring you on live here. So make sure you call in. We're going to be wrapping this episode up soon, so if you want to get in and call to me and John, you want to do it while you can on this special test pilot off-season Beyond the Harmony Live.
I've got a question for both you guys. I don't know anything about this. I've only seen it. I seen an ad for it. Lazy Bone Eternal Salute record, only 20 copies made. Do you guys have any info on that?
100%.
What can you tell me?
Eternal Salute is from the Disciples of E project that's coming out, and they pressed 20 copies of the record. And that was it. And I just saw that somebody online bought like 3 of them. The last time I'd looked, there were 20. I saw somebody post up that they had 3. So at best, there's 17 left. And Disciples of E. I think it's Ruthless Propaganda that's putting that out, and it's just all kinds of Eazy-E proteges. And one of the songs was Lazy, and I gotta say, I heard the clip, and the clip and shit was really good. Like, it was, I didn't feel like it was some rushed, just lazy bone shit that he put out. Like, it was a really good song. I was impressed.
Yeah, Therese, did you get a chance to see that advertisement?
Nah, that's new information for me. I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. There was something too, like since this is kind of relevant to today, since you were talking about When Thugs Cry video. So Cecil, when we were going through that process, trying to get some information on Maya, I came across that Fleshbone First of the Month verse, which was tied to Felicia's Out of Time song. Mm-hmm. But in the studio footage, we saw that somebody that appeared, it was Maya. Maybe it was a different girl, but I thought it was Maya. Are we to suppose that Maya was the original singer for that song, and then Felicia then inherited it? Or does anybody know what was going on there with that Fleshbone? The video is called Fleshbone First of the Month unreleased verse, but it turns out to be Felicia out of what we now know as Felicia Out of Time, which was over the first of the month.
And I think that doesn't have Flesh on it, right? Like that. Right. Yeah, so they ended up taking Flesh and Maya out. So I don't know anything about it, but I will say this. I know for certain that it wouldn't be the first time that they've had a quote-unquote like name feature that then got replaced with somebody inside the fold. And, it happens for one of two reasons. Romeo talked about how Mariah Carey was on the original All Good. And, we know how that song ended up. And I would say that happens for one of two reasons. Either A, it's a money thing, or B, they're like, yo, this is gonna be a hit. Let's put somebody of our own on it, so they get the hit, in house. I would guess that's the two reasons that happens.
Yeah. By the way, Mr. Unknown asks. He was mentioning the Thug Mentality 99 cuts. Uh-huh. He just wants us to touch on it. I don't know much about the Thug Mentality 99 cuts. Do you or Therese know anything about the cuts from that? Because, it was a double album.
What about them? Just like the songs that didn't make it?
Yeah.
Crazy said he was going to be doing, like he said he had so many tracks for the album. It could have been a 3 CD album. And he said put out the third installment of Thug Mentality 1999 with all the cuts that didn't make it.
Well, I hope he does. I believe that shit when I see it. But I hope he does. Kevin says Crazy is re-releasing a bonus disc. Yeah, so is that, Kevin, is that the piece? Somebody had told me something about there was going to be a remaster of Thug Mentality, and there was going to be a remaster, and I assume that that's going to be with it. Hey, if he does that, I think that's nothing but great for Bone fans. I would love to hear what didn't make it, and even hear a remaster of that album. We know that there was a ton of cuts, from that. So, I mean, I think anything like that is great. And if you're Bone, I think it's tough for them as well, because it's like, if you're Bone, you want to make this new music, right? And you got everybody saying, yo, release this old thing, release this old thing, release this old thing. And it's like, bro, you motherfuckers don't care about what we're making in 2020? Don't worry about what we made in 1999. So I'm sure it's frustrating as an artist, but I also feel like we live in a time where, and this started way back with the mixtapes, when mixtapes, and I'm talking actual, I would say when mixtapes started to convert from a physical to a digital thing, the oversaturation of an artist became the normal, meaning that an artist had to be dropping a new mixtape once a month to remain relevant. We live in a time where a song can be released today and forgot tomorrow, and the best thing that you could do would be to oversaturate, as unfortunate as that is. And Bone has the material right now where they could fucking oversaturate like crazy and just stay in people's faces with their music. So I hope they take that approach. Looks like Frank Nitty. Did I just see Frank Nitty in the building? Frank Nitty in the building. Shut up, Frank.
On the Skype?
Nah, he's in the chat.
Oh, okay. Yo, Frank Nitty, what's up, man? That's awesome. Hey, I see also in the chat here, Scott Scalise bought 2 copies of Eternal Salute, one for his collection and one to keep sealed. Now that's a Bone collector right there, bro.
I just pulled it up and it say the track list say the introduction.
Yep.
Eternal Salute instrumental.
Yeah. He does Lazy did an intro as well. He does a little intro on it.
Did you see that this week Crazy Bone steal the spotlight? It was like a mini documentary about Crazy Bone, but their audio got all jacked up.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
And visually it looked great. Just a shame that the audio didn't come through. I mean, audio, but it's just not, mic'd audio. Terez, you get a chance to see that Steal the Spotlight?
Steal the Spotlight.
It was a
video.
We lose it.
I didn't get the.
There he is.
I got it in my wallet. I didn't get the. I thought it was a song at first.
It's like a documentary or like a movie, like a mini. It's really like a Crazy Bone interview that they're calling a movie. Look good. I didn't catch any of the stories. Caesar, did you watch the whole thing? Did you watch enough to kind of get a grasp for what they were talking about in it? Because the audio was just killing me. I turned it off.
Yeah, I just watched like a little bit. I watched them talking about like Wally and some shit like that.
By the way, picture dropped.
I got a question about that because now that you say, I seen a clip today, and he was talking about, was he wearing like a hat or something, like a Scully?
It was like he was in a room and they had a good camera on him, but the audio was all like it was like ambient audio. It kind of looked like, when I think off the top of my head, I think he's like wearing like black and white.
Yeah. So okay, we did see the same video. So he was talking about the clip that I seen. He was talking about how the whole Ouija thing came about, and how he said the whole Ouija, like Bone playing with Ouija. He said, and I heard the story before, but the people keep on changing. Maybe it's because it's been so long since it happened. Maybe they forgot who was actually there. But at first, when the story was told, I forgot who told it, but they said it was Lazy and Busy who came to Crazy House. But Crazy said it was Lazy and Wally who brung them. So,
I think that's like anything. Like I've said it a bunch of times on this channel. You go through an event with a group of people. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And what you remember is the meat of the story, and it's like, you figure 25 years of touring, hundreds of shows, albums, these guys have been through it all. It's tough to remember every detail of something that happened, 25 years ago, who was there, and, everybody's account's a little bit different. And that's what we find out doing these interviews, is that it's like, you know, it's the 360 degrees of a story that we're trying to pull out, because it's like nobody fully remembers the details, and you know, not everybody recalls it the same. So, you know, that's what I take from that. I do love that, you know, you see interviews like that one, the one with Crazy, and I'm like, you know, I'm happy to see that people are still, you know, excited and pushing to interview the guys from Bone Thugs and Harmony. You know, that they're not they're not being forgotten. I see that the chat is lighting up right now. I just want to remind everybody that we're doing this a little bit different. If you want to call in and chop it up with us, all you got to do is jump on Skype at beyondtheharmony99@gmail.com. Send me a message and let me know you want to come on the show, and we're going to bring y'all in.
Yeah, and just so you know, I'm good to go till 10 right now because I'm feeling it right now. This is a great show. I wanted to ask also, I'm confused on this. So it all hit me at once. There's a music video, and it seems a little bit older. It's called Underground Legends, AC Killer, and Bone Thugs and Harmony. But then I saw there's like a completely different song called Underground Legends with AC Killer, Bone Thugs and Harmony, and Blaze. Now, I watched the video. The video is highly amusing with AC Killer. He always makes humorous videos. I don't know if they're supposed to be humorous, but I find them hilarious. Like, anytime AC Killer drops a video, I watch it because you never know what's going to happen in an AC Killer video. But there seems to be two different versions going on here. One's a Blaze version, and it's completely different. And then there's this Underground Legends music video version. I just wonder if anybody could shed any light, if they know anything about that. Or Therese or Cecil, if you guys know.
No.
And I'm bringing it to everybody else's attention that there's two Underground Legends. One's a music video and one's a song, and they're completely different. And Blaze did one of them.
Nope.
This new information for me as well.
I know nothing of it.
I'm getting.
Okay. Also, I have this on my list of things of things you sent me, Cecil. Bone Thugs and Harmony with 2 eyes at the end. Is this like a romance novel collection?
Oh, the book thing?
Yeah, are there Bone Thugs and Harmony romance novels?
I don't know anything about that. I just saw that someone fucking posted it. Someone posted it. And that was that. So.
Oh, it was posted like on the BTH board or Beyond the Harmony board or Bone Cult? Like, where did you see it? How did you even find out about it?
It just came up in my, my Facebook.
That's hilarious. So if anybody doesn't know, I didn't really look too far into this, but there's a book. I don't know if it's a book or it's called Bone Thugs and Harmony with 2 eyes. So instead of it being a Y, it's Harmony with 2 eyes. It appears to be like a romance novel with Bone. That's all I can know about it. I'm just throwing that out there that book is out there. I don't know if it's a sub cottage industry, if there's like Bone romance novels going around, but I've seen that. Another thing I also seen, because I want to get this in, I don't know how I saw this. This seemed like it came in my feed. I don't know if it was a promoted thing. I don't know how I saw it, but anyway, there's this girl, female rapper. She is awesome. She was rapping on the Thuggish Ruggish Bone beat. And at first I was like, oh, I can't believe somebody's going to try rapping on this beat. And she killed it. So if anybody's seen that or know her name or whatever, just give a shout out to that. I'm just saying it was a good track. I sent it to you, Cecil. I don't know if you've seen it. Do you know what I'm talking about? The female rapper rapping over Thuggish Ruggish Bone. She's like coming out of a car and she just busts right out the car. She's just killing it. It was really good. So if you haven't seen it, I don't know how you'd look it up because I don't know what her name was. But it should be in your little Facebook thing that I sent you. Like, you'd have to scroll way far up, though. It was like 3 weeks ago.
Mr. Unknown about that, about the fucking book, says she wrote several. One is called Cheating with His Friends or some shit. Is that who wrote the book? The fucking weird Bone romance book?
I don't. Like I said, I looked at it the day you sent it to me. I wrote it down to bring it up on the show. And I'm saying it so I could cross it off my list. But I was cracking. I did find it amusing, and I've just been thinking about the spelling of it. I don't know how nobody has done that spelling with the double I at the end, but seeing that just cracked me up. So if you guys want a Bone romance novel, it's on Amazon.
Hey, Therese, you breaking up.
I was just saying that I want to give some respect and apology to Blaze. I want to put some respect on his name because I've loved everything that I've seen him do with Busy and the Carbon Monoxide. Because when I first heard that the YNTG song,
Yeah.
I wasn't with it. And the reason why I was with it because like whenever I hear like a Bone feature with an artist that I've never heard before, I never really listened to their stuff. I would just skip to to Bone's verse, and that would be the only thing I listened to. And I remember like I commented on Instagram. I was like, how come every time artists get on a track with Bone, they want to sound like a Bone clone? And he actually replied back and gave me a good explanation. You know, he said he wanted the track to have Busy in its element. He said that a lot of artists get on there and they don't, when they get a collaboration with Bone, they don't have it. And so I just thought YNTG was going to be the only record. And then just to see everything that he's done to this point, it's amazing. And like I said, I want to put some respect on his name.
Oh,
and
yeah.
congratulate. And man, I appreciate what he's done.
Yeah, I really enjoyed YNTG because I felt like Blaze made it busy bone enough that the song made sense, but he didn't just try to be a full clone or anything, but he made the element. But what's nice is about Blaze is that. And this was proven, obviously through Carbon Monoxide. He really gets it. He really gets what Bone fans want to hear, what they want to see. He really gets it. So I appreciate Blaze's. I like what he's doing with Busy. I'd like to see what he could do with the whole group, but that's tough. I think that's tough for anybody to, Bone is, it's funny, but when you see the guys in Bone, when you get connected to one of them, for instance, Blaze with Busy, you're kind of like Busy's guy now. They're kind of like a little mob, and everybody's kind of like their own boss. So all those guys under them are kind of like part of their crew. So I don't know if we'll get to see Blaze do a bunch with the group, but I'd be real interested to see what he could do with a whole group song.
You could get a taste of it with the Underground Legends song. I mean, I don't know the whole story behind it, but it appears he's got multiple Bone members on it with AC Killer, and like I said, the song version is different than the video version, and so it's got the Blaze sound to it. The instrumental, it's definitely a Blaze instrumental, and it's got his background vocals on it. So check out that Underground Legends Blaze version with AC Killer and Bone, just to get a taste to see what it might sound like.
Yeah.
You want to say something, Therese? I'm sorry.
Blaze, he got. I seen a new song that he got with Well, it's not. It's probably not. I'm just now discovering he got something with Harmony God. With nephew, and that's somebody that like Harmony God besides YBL Sinatra. I like YBL Sinatra, but I also like Harmony God too. Like I like listen to his. I can listen to his solo tracks. Like he definitely had the harmony in his name. Definitely does go well with what he be doing on his solo music.
Blaze be working with the Bloodline Harmony guys, which I think is cool. And I love the Bloodline Harmony guys, and really it's like Bone has their own thing. They got established guys that they've worked with repeatedly over the years. It's hard to bring new people into that fold. But it would be really cool to see Blaze really invested in like a Bloodline Harmony project. Can anybody in the chat tell me the status of Bloodline Harmony and what's going on? Are they still a full group? Are they working on a project? It looks like they're kind of in disarray a little bit. Can anybody tell me what's up with Bloodline Harmony? Because I love, I know that's like a mixed thing for the fans, but I love Bloodline Harmony.
Yeah.
For me, with they do have like good songs. To me, I just think that maybe I don't know what they're doing with their music, but like I hear something and they be fire, and then I wouldn't hear like maybe I don't want to say inconsistent. Maybe like that's the thing, like they're not really consistent enough, but it's something. Maybe being consistent ain't the
Well,
case,
you
but
got to remember too that it's a different time for them to be consistent. You know, they're young dudes now. When Bone was their age and they were consistent, they had an entire fucking record label around them. You know, kind of shaping them into the consistencies of a group. Bloodline Harmony, they're young and they got the guidance of, you know, Busy and Bone and the guys around them, but that, you know, that's different than a record label. That's different than having a staff of people around them. So I think the consistency issues that you see is a lot of what they do, I think, is on them. And it's funny to think about how Bone might have been different if they didn't have that backing and surrounding the way that they did at that age. So I do think that part of what makes it hard for Bloodline Harmony is they don't have the staffing that they need, you know, like that.
true. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I'll hear some stuff. I'm like, man, I want to hear more. But
Frank Nitti says they're still together. They need a project, and they have some travel issues. So that's what's up there. We're gonna be wrapping up this episode here real soon. So if you're trying to call in and chop it up with me and Johnny, you got to jump on Skype and add us Beyond the Harmony 99 and send Beyond the Harmony 99 at gmail.com and send me a message. We're going to bring you in. Trez, I want to thank you for calling in and chopping it up and testing this out with us tonight. It's been awesome talking to you, and I hope you're looking forward to season 3.
Most definitely. I'm can't wait for season 3. I want to thank y'all for having me. I do have another phone question of the day.
Okay.
But
nice.
All right.
Should I ask it here?
Yeah.
Lay it on us.
Okay, I was going because I ain't want to take up the chat, but you know, I if y'all don't mind me asking, I ask it right now.
Terez's bone question of the day. This is for the whole chat and me and John. Drop it.
I sent this to you guys before, but it was like a whole like collage. But it was what if Lazy Bone had dropped a solo in between 97 and 99? Would you guys would have been better than Thug by Nature? Because I went to listen to Thug by Nature, didn't really like it, and the reason why I say that is because the two solo Lazy Bone songs from between them periods, the Mind of a Soldier, or Art of War, and the song that he had with DJ Unique on Street Pharmacy. Like, if he came with that energy and it was a full album, of what would you guys have? Would you guys have loved that?
So you're asking if Lazy would have recorded and released his solo in like 98, 99 instead of like 2001? If I feel like it would have been a better project than Thug by Nature. Is that basically?
Yeah.
You know, that's such a torn thing to ask. I think that it's tough because I think it's constantly bringing us back to what we're talking about all the time, which is, you know, though we know those to be the classic times, right? 94 to 99. We know that in 2000 the whole thing changed. So I think that's constantly bringing us back to, you know, I think any of them and any of their music between 98 and 94 and 99 was considerably different. I will say this too. I think that Lazy, when he did Thug by Nature, I think that he was trying to not break away from Bone, but I think that he was trying to show, you know, that there were layers to it. So I think he was trying to kind of go out on a limb and not just deliver you 20 tracks of Mind of a Soldier. You know, I think that he was trying to, you know, like the song Make My Day, I think that gets picked on, right, by like Bone fans, and the video kind of has got picked on and shit. But I think that was his attempt at trying to show us some different layers. So it's a tough question to answer. I do think that any of their material between 94 and 99 would have been, you know, just the gems. But better. It's so hard. It's so hard to say. It's so hard to say. I liked Thug by Nature. I will say though, at the time that Thug by Nature dropped, like, I don't know. What do you think, John? Lazy was probably my favorite back then.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. Was Lazy? Had I ruined Lazy Bone for you by that point? Like, were you really looking forward to Alberna, or was it already? Were you over the Lazy Bone's my favorite rapper of all time?
I was really looking forward to Thug by Nature. I do think that things had started to shift for me, to me really like appreciating Crazy Bone. But I can back up what Therese is saying a little bit. I do remember it coming out in 2001, and I do think that was the thing that finally made me go, okay, Lazy isn't my favorite. But again, I was in that mind state of I just want to hear eternal Art of War, type shit. And we know with the solos that there was so much expansion. There was so much expansion between all the original solos, that I don't think that I was ready for. But I can honestly say that Thug by Nature, on its initial drop, I was like, this isn't what the fuck I thought it was gonna be. And but like there are like songs that I love. Smoke On is great. I love them all now, but shit grows on you with time. But I do remember at the drop. First of all, the intro. Do you remember, John, when the album came out and me going, bro, the intro to Alberna's album is fucking phenomenal. Do you remember me freaking out?
You were losing your mind over the boom, 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 boom. You were losing your mind, bro.
Yes.
It was like that was going to be your Christmas from here to eternity at that point.
Yes. They should be walking out. If they don't walk out to that song live every time, I don't know what they're doing. I lost my fucking mind. I lost my mind during that intro. The album itself, like I said, I think he was trying to peel back some layers and do some other shit. But like Smoke On and As the Rain, even Listen, there's a lot of, Still the Greatest. That's not like a regular Bone song to me. But it's.
Well, I think there's a music video for Listen as well.
Yeah.
And thinking back on that Alberna album, the feeling I recall is like a slight disappointment in that one, just pushing Bone on people was hard enough, and then he changed his name to Alberna. We've talked about it a million times, but I was thinking, like, I get it, you guys have the contracts and you got to change names, but why didn't you call it Number One Assassin? That would have made so much more sense. And I don't remember if Leatherface Legends had been out yet, but I just remember thinking, why didn't you call it Number One Assassin? And to what Therese was saying, if the album, I thought I was getting an album like Mind of a Soldier, and if it would have been like that throughout, obviously not the same song every time, but that level of, like, that's a masterpiece right there. That's still, I think, my favorite Lazy Bone song of all time is Mind of a Soldier. It's just so well put together. All the verses, there's a beginning, middle, and the end. It's a complete song. So I was expecting to get that level of production, that level of writing. It's like a variety show. Like, that's really what threw me off about the Alberna album, was that all the songs were good, but it just didn't feel cohesive. It felt like like I said, a variety show of so many different things. Like, there's a track with Dub C, then there's a track with Twister, then there's a track with, it's all over the place. And I just wanted that. I wanted that, and also that the War Is On verse that he did on Crazy Bones album was so killing it. I don't remember if you remember what it was like hearing when the war popped off. Where the fuck you gonna be, city under it? When I first heard that, I was like, holy shit, Lazy might be, coming close to taking Crazy out the box. Lazy somehow got upgraded his skills at that moment in time, and then that's what I thought I was getting. The Alberna album is good. It's still probably his best album. Production wise, it's really good. It's just, it wasn't what I thought I was getting. But as you said, over time, the whole album grows on you. And now looking back on it, you're like, wow, this is a really good album. I just slept on it because there was so much good music at the time. I just thought I was getting something like Mind of a Soldier, and it was in the Alberna, I just could not get over the name.
I hated that.
It just threw me off so bad.
I did struggle really fucking bad with the Alberna thing. And I don't know if that was, you know that there was like a lot of controversy with him releasing that solo because like Epic was involved or some shit and he wasn't supposed to be, and that was all around the time that I know Busy like sued Ruthless, and that's how he ended up getting his solo rights, was through that lawsuit. So I know that there was a lot of shit around, you know, him, and I think Epic was involved somehow, and they weren't supposed to be. So I don't know if that was the move. You know, him doing it as Alberna was because of the Epic thing. I don't really know. I did see in there though, somebody had just said, and I missed it. There's so many comments coming through.
Yeah. Did you get the gift or Alberna on that day? Which did you buy first?
Who said it? Somebody said that Listen was a really great track, and he was telling us shit back then and giving us answers and telling us shit, and you know, we had no idea because it was so early on in like the Bone breakup drama shit that we hadn't gone through that shit yet, like openly the way we did later on. And it is true. Listen was a great song. The final 3 tracks on Thug by Nature were really good. But Terez, you know, to answer your question, I do think that during that time, you know, 94 to 99, the producers were different, the label situation was different, everything was different. So I think the music was really different. Do I think I would have liked the solo different or more? Probably, because I love all that music from that era. But it's really hard for me to say, because I can also say that, like, in comparison to all of Lazy Bone solos, which he's got so many, Thug by Nature is top ranking, you know, in comparison to a lot of the other ones.
Yeah. And to me, like, that's where it's like it's a bad thing for me, because like it's hard. Like, as much of a Bone fan I am, I can't get through Thug by Nature without skipping. It's like maybe like two or 3 songs on there that I like.
What's your favorite Bone solo album? What's the no skip solo that you can listen to front to back without skipping?
Gemini Good versus Evil.
I love that one.
Wow.
Yes, I agree. That's a great solo. I'm with it. Thank you for saying that. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, John Lippy.
I like Gemini. I played it a lot. I don't remember what it was about.
Put that.
It
in your
was like a
pipe
half and half album. That's a good pick, though. That is a good pick. And yeah, Gemini. That was.
I'm still learning. Thug Mentality 1999. I know that could be a shocker, but it's because, like, I don't know, like, I've had many a times to listen to Gemini Good versus Evil because, you know, YouTube and everything like that, but I didn't want to listen to it like that. I was like, I'm going to wait to get the CD. Couldn't find the CD back when I was, like, looking and searching. So I couldn't find the CD to Thug Mentality and Heaven's Movie. I couldn't find the CDs for those. They was always, like, on YouTube and stuff like that, and I didn't want to listen to them like that. I wanted to put them in the CD and put the headphones on and listen to them like that. So eventually I done had to cave in, and now I'm listening to those albums. But, like, yeah, Alpha and Omega and Gemini Good versus Evil, you know, it was CDs out for those when I started listening to Bone Thugs and Harmony. So
yeah, both of those are really hard to find. I did get Alpha and Omega, and I did get Gemini, but they weren't, at least where I was at, they weren't available. I had to get them used. I couldn't find them brand new. And I'm talking at the time when they released. I'm going to the store saying, where the heck? I think maybe that was why I was mad at that Gemini album. It was so hard for me to acquire. But I see Kevin Starks has a question: which is better, Lazy Bone Listen, Busy Bone Nobody Can Stop Me, Crazy Bone Drama, or Flesh and Bone Sticks and the Stones?
First of all, what a fucking weird bunch of songs to compare. Like, before I even answer that, I just got to know where the comparison comes from here. Where, how the fuck are we comparing? How are we comparing Drama and Nobody Can Stop Me? Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like we're comparing, you know, like, I mean, I got a pick there, but it's like, it feels like,
Feels so stacked in Busy's favor.
well, a lot of them are saying Drama by Crazy Bone, but for me, it's Nobody Can Stop Me. That's a hands down winner out of everything you just listed. I mean, we're talking a grade A song versus 3 B grade songs. Yeah, I mean, I guess he says they're all emotional songs. I can see that, I guess. But I mean, from that perspective, then I mean, it's Nobody Can Stop Me by a mile and a half. Then I mean, if we're talking about the emotion of these 4 fucking songs that you just listed, Nobody Can Stop Me is the context is miles ahead of the other 3.
Yeah, I maybe. Yeah, I think that Nobody Can Stop Me. I think that would always take the cake in that particular fight. Sad Song by Crazy Bone was a good one. It was short though. Like I wish that song was longer. I forgot about that track till now. Sad song.
Do you always love like all the little? Crazy does that so well. He'll make those little interludes. He did it all through Art of War. He did it all through fucking Thug Mentality. He does those little interludes, and you're like, motherfucker, why wasn't this a whole song? What's wrong with you, bro?
Yeah, well, we finally got the Waiting for Never, and I'll say that I don't remember if I said this in that off-season video, but I'm totally good with now that the music video came out for Waiting for Never, the new version. I'm okay with Waiting for Never. I wasn't okay with it when I first got Quick Fix 2, but now that I saw that there's a music video for it, I'm okay with it. But then at the same time, I'm like, why didn't the video follow along with the original video? But it's all good. I like it now. It came on me. And the gift I think I got the gift before I got El Burner. Mm-hmm. And I remember on day 1, I didn't like the gift, but by day 2, I was playing it front to back for like 2 years straight. So there's the answer on that question about which did I get first, the gift or El Burner. And it's funny, I think I ended up playing El Burner more on day 1, but then the gift is what I still play. So that's how that one played out. So Therese, as we're wrapping, do you got any other questions of the day that you want to wrap with?
I hope that answered your Lazy Bone question of the day, Therese.
Yeah. It definitely answered my question. Like, well, for me, it was like more so like, man, is the reason. Well, I ain't gonna say the reason, but I know for me, I wish he would have had recorded in between 97 and 99, just because production and sound wise in them years versus 2001. I know that the sound of hip hop and production wise started to change and stuff like that.
It's funny too because he chances are, right, that he probably recorded some solos during that time. But of course, when you're in that mode and it's 2000 and you're working on an album for 2001 and you got these songs from 1998, 1999, you're like, nah, fuck that. Like my new shit's where it's at, So that's probably the mentality. He probably did have some solos that we haven't heard from that time. But of course, with you wanting people to hear the new shit and not something that's 2 years old, that's probably why we ended up getting all those new songs on there. But fingers crossed, like we always are, that I will say this: if anybody, and I wholeheartedly believe this, if any member of Bone will release stuff that they have, it's Lazy Bone. I think Lazy is, he tries to be the guy that gives us all that stuff. I know the Lost Archive project, whatever. I know that kind of got fucked up for fans, and fans were kind of bitter, but Lazy is constantly trying to give us the shit that we want. And these guys, especially with the old stuff, are really got to jump through some fucking hoops, which is bullshit. But if anybody will do it, I think it's Lazy Bone.
I remember what it was now about the Alberna album, and I want to see if you remember how you felt at the time. Okay. Twister was featured on the album, and I felt like they were clowning everybody because they didn't rap fast on the song, if I remember correctly, right? Wasn't the Twister Lazy Bone song, that was the first time they collaborated, if I'm recalling this correctly. I remember that was the first track I went to when I got the album, expecting to like just, have a heart attack. and I think they kept it like slow or like normal. Like they did. I was expecting a race, like some Tech Nine Worldwide Choppers, and they just did like a regular track. I had to have been. What the heck song am I thinking of then?
You're thinking of something later.
Am I
So
right?
you must be thinking about the Midwest Invasion that was on This Ain't a Game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
But man, maybe it was that it wasn't on the album. I don't.
But
it had to have been. Well,
I do think you're thinking the
You know what I'm
right
talking
thing. I do think you're thinking the right thing, which is they didn't try to do that real fast shit. But I mean, come on, Lazy isn't the What did you want? What did you want? You wanted Lazy Bone to get on there and get burned by fucking Twista? Like, let's be fucking real about it. Like, Lazy's fucking fast, but he's not like Crazy Bone or Busy or any shit like that. And Twista is unapologetically like fast. So it's just I would have liked to heard that, but then I didn't want to hear a bunch of people just talk shit about how Twista fucking burned Lazy Bone.
But so okay, that Midwest Invasion, that is the song that I remember now. But that so you guys are saying that was on This Ain't a Game, because that came out. I remember listening. I remember feeling this way.
It came out way before it was on the
2001.
record. We heard it way before it was on the album.
Okay, maybe that's what it was. Maybe I wanted it to be on the album because I was always trying to sell Bone to other people. And if it wasn't on the album, maybe that's what I was mad about. Was I was like, great, now I can't even sell the Zell Burner to other people saying, hey, Twister's on it. Why don't you listen to Twister and you can listen to Lazy? Something about it. To me, that's what sticks out of my mind the most. Was it had to do with Twister. And as far as what you were saying, I always thought like Lazy could hang with Twister. He's not going to beat Twister, but Lazy was the most like. You could understand every word Lazy Bone said on all of his raps, and that's what kind of differentiated Twister, was that you could understand every word Twister was saying no matter how fast he was rapping, whereas the rest of Bone, you had to slow down the tape or listen to it 50,000 times to figure out what they're talking about. So I thought it was an interesting, combination of Lazy and Lazy, the most understandable Bone rapper, versus Twister, and not even like a versus, just like a collabo. I thought it was a good matchup, and it didn't happen how I expected it, but hey, but that Ain't No Hose by Twister with Crazy and Lazy Bone, that is the best shit between those three. That's my favorite Twister Bone track. Ain't No Hose.
I'm the only thing I still wanted to hear was that speed of sound. Tech Nine and Bone. When I heard Tech Nine rap his verse and he said that Bone never laid it down, that was the shit that I wanted to hear, was speed of sound with Tech and Bone.
Yeah. Did you kind of like the one that Tech and Crazy did? It was what, Midwest Choppers. That one, like, I was happy about that.
Crazy Bone didn't do what I wanted on that fucking song.
Yeah. I think that's. It was good, and that song is what made me start to respect Tech, because I was like, wow, Tech actually, hung with Crazy Bone, and at the time period, Tech wasn't the guy he is now. He was still up and coming, and I remember saying like, wow, Tech actually really brought it on that track. Crazy's verse was cool though, and even that first guy was good, but there was something about it I wanted even more. I guess we're just so ungrateful, man. They keep giving us this elite shit, and we want so much more. And and that was a Bone question of the day. I'm going to ask you right now, and I'm going to ask everybody right now. We'll wrap it on this, because I don't think you would do this as a question of the day. But my question is,
all right. Hold on. Hey, let me, because we're gonna wrap it after this. Therese, I'm gonna hang up with you. I appreciate you calling in. I hope you jump into the chat, and I appreciate you calling in and chopping it up with us for so long. You actually helped us test a ton of shit tonight that you didn't even know you were helping me test. But I needed somebody to call in, and you were the only one with the guts to step up and call in. So Therese, I appreciate you calling in, brother, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Much love. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, have a good night. I'm finna jump in the chat.
Awesome.
Therese.
Yeah, this is like the Therese was our special guest this week.
Hey, I can't believe John said we're rapping. He wanted to get off here 15 minutes ago, but I will say beyondtheharmony99@gmail.com. If you got the motherfucking Skype, don't be scared. call us. You see how easy it was with Therese. Give us a shout. I need somebody to test the video. So, you know, if you ain't scared, bro, you don't have to fucking sit there and flood the fucking chat. Gemini, are you in here? Kick that fucking kid out of my chat. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck is wrong with you?
Crazy Bone in that gang.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get
the fuck out.
I think Bone was the gang, right?
Yeah, Bone was the fucking gang. They're in no gang, bro. They're in no gang because they were the fucking gang. Listen to some of these fucking interviews, dog. Like, Bone didn't have to be in no fucking gang. They were the fucking gang, bro. Listen to these interviews. Bone was never interested in being Bloods, Crips, any of that shit. You know why? Because they were Bone. That was that. Yeah. That was that. But I will say, if you got questions and shit, you only got to ask them one fucking time. You don't have to be flooding the chat out. People don't usually do that. That's that whack shit. I don't get with that fucking shit. Fuck out of here. All right, John, you said you got a weird question of the day. Hey, I'm going to just give y'all some backstory. Me and John, when we do questions of the day, which is about to become the question of the week, actually. There's a little hint into season 3. When we do them, we sit there and, I didn't, just so you know, I didn't mean like a real gang like that. Like, I hope nobody takes that like serious, like Bone's a gang. Like, I didn't mean it like that. So I just meant like they're not interested in being in a fucking gang like that. Like, look at these motherfuckers. They didn't need one. But just so y'all know, when we do the question of the day, me and John sit and we write tons of questions, tons of them. And, you know, we'll add a bunch, we keep a bunch, and then a bunch of them we shut the fuck down and we don't do. Usually it's me shutting shit down. Like, I'm not going to fucking talk about that. And John's always like, you know, come on, let's do this. I'm like, nah, you do a video on that. I don't want to talk about that. So this is John on live backing me into a corner because he's like, I know you wouldn't do this offline. So what's the question, John?
And just so you guys know, I'm a habitual Cecil West line stepper. So, but I think this one's legit. I think this keep getting pushed to the bottom. And this is, so the preface this is, Bone fans always want them to release something. It's like, when's Bone coming out with this? And it's like, there's all these solo albums that come out. Lazy Bone keeps dropping. I can't even keep up with the Lazy Bone solo albums. I never could. I can't keep up with all Busy's albums. I can't keep up with Bone, yet people always want Bone to do more and more, which makes me think that everybody's desiring something that's not happening. Uh-huh. So I guess I'll propose this question to you, Cecil. You could answer it, and everybody else can answer in the chat. But my question is...
Or you can call in and answer. BeyondTheHarmony99@gmail.com on Skype.
Or you could call in. And so the question is, what is it that Bone hasn't done that you keep... Not you, but the royal you, that we keep begging for more or demanding more as if we're not getting what we wanted? So what is it? What can Bone do to satisfy you? What is it that everybody wants while we keep asking more? They keep giving us more, and we keep saying more and more. What is it? What's that satisfaction? I ain't going nowhere because we ain't satisfied. What's the satisfaction? What would satisfy you? What are you looking for Bone to do?
Well, I think that what you're gonna get is people saying, you know, I want to hear that Eternal. I want to hear that Art of War. And I put a post up on my Facebook recently that kind of addressed, like, you know, we got to stop doing that to them. We got to stop saying, I want them to go back to that style, right? Because you got to realize who these guys were at the age when they made those songs. And, you know, they're grown men now. And they're also not in the place that they were in. And thankfully, like, they, you know, these guys have been through some real shit. Thankfully, they lived to get out of that place, that they're not making songs like that. So their lives have changed. So I don't think when people are like, oh, bring back that fucking style, like, shut the fuck up with that, man. Shut the fuck up. For me, I just want another album. That's it. Like, I don't want them to do a particular thing. I don't want them to try to do this and that. I'd like them to do it with DJ Unique, but it's not like a make or break for me if they don't. I just want them to give me another album. You know, I know everybody's happy with the solos, and I know that I'm constantly bitching about solos, but a lot of the solos feel like a lot of fucking filler to me. That's just me being honest. Not all of them, not everything, not any one of them in particular. But the solos, they don't feel the same. When Terez was on here and he was saying, hey, you know, if you feel like this was done in 98, 99, would have been better, you know, probably would have been. Because now the solos are watered down. If we take the pure amount of solo songs, we were to add up all the fucking solo songs and put them against all the Bone Thugs and Harmony songs, we're severely out fucking weight. So I just want a group album, 5 of them in the studio, not busy in Texas and fucking crazy in California and them sending verses to each other and shit. I want the 5 of them smoking weed, busy in Wish, shadow boxing with each other, slap boxing and shit, recording tracks, and that's what I want, and a tour that goes with it, and then I'll shut the fuck up. But it's been 10 years. I touched on it a little bit. Unified wasn't what it was supposed to be, and they had all the resources to make it absolutely what it should have been. With the think tanks and shit. I thought that was such incredible. That was such incredible ahead of the curve thinking with the think tank. I was like, there's no fucking way this can go wrong. These guys identify that they have a cult following of people that really understand that we care about their music and that we care about the project. And they did the think tanks, and I was like, bro, them involving the fans like this is genius. I don't know who came up with that. Like, I'm sure there's all kinds of people that'll tell you this guy, that guy, this bone, that bone. Look, I don't know who the motherfucker is that came up with that, but that was genius level shit. And Unified kind of went wrong to me. So I want redemption. Oh, you know what I really want, John? This answers your question. I want a fucking album that starts with "We're back" and the Ouija voice, and then whatever happens from there, I'm gonna have a fucking hard on and be happy about. If Unified would have started with that instead of whatever the fuck, I probably wouldn't feel the way that I feel. So
yeah, that might have changed the whole album.
I just want a group album. That's it. There's no things with it. I saw somebody in here say Kevin Stark says Bobby Francis came up with a think tank. Genius level shit from him. Somebody said they want a 3-6 Mafia Bone album. That's like wishful thinking, like shit, right? Like, I mean, we can't even get a Bone album. Never mind Bone with 3-6 Mafia. I would take like a, you know, Crazy Bone DJ Paul album or something.
Yeah, I mean, when it came to, you know, as far as the Eternal style, you brought it up. I just wish they would just do it once. Like, I feel like Facts Don't Lie was the closest we could get to it, or even the Land with Kane. I felt like that kind of had an East 99 style, a little bit to it. Actually, and the intro on Thug Stories, you know, the video was Intro and Fire. I felt when that one came out, I felt like that had that thuggish, ruggish, like the old style sound, the Eternal sound. But I just wish they would make an official, just one more song.
Sorry. Somebody in the chat goes, Antonio goes, if we got that laugh and then the Ouija shit and the first song after that was Get Up and Get It Again, you'd be pissed. Yo, I almost fell out of my fucking seat. Woo, that's true. I would be pissed. You are right.
Well,
sorry. I read that shit and almost fell off the seat, bro.
So yeah, I just wish they would do one song just for the fans, because like them not doing it kind of feels like it's like, man, we just want one. Can you just give us one Eternal song? But that's not what I'm looking for, and I want to make this a little dramatic. It's a one sentence, but all I want them to do is live up to their potential. And I think deep down, that's what everybody really wants, is that you saw the potential around the time of Mo Thugs, around the time of Art of War, especially with the experimentation that Crazy Bone did on Mo Murder. And it's like you saw what could have been, and the musical expansion, working with those type of producers. I just want them to live up to their potential, because I felt like they never have. They were getting so close to it, and then everything fell apart after Mo Thugs 2. So that's really that's all I want, is just live up to that musical potential that they could have lived up to. And I think that's what we all think, because it was going there, and it's just kind of degraded over time. So that's my answer, is just live up to your potential just once.
I just think, but I mean, do you feel like any of them are going into the studio and putting it, they might make some songs that they feel like, okay, that wasn't my best song, but do you honestly think they're putting out fucking solos or even unified? We'll take that. Even that, do you feel like they put that out and they were like, this isn't our full potential? Like, I mean, there's no way that they're not laying this shit down thinking, we're giving it what we got. Like, I mean, I just feel like this is where they're at. And what you're talking about, you had mentioned Mo Thugs and shit. It's like, bro, we know from hearing Mo Thug pre-releases, we know from hearing Art of War pre-releases, there's so much post-production that's important to the Bone sound, and there's never any more proof of this than when you compare, like, and me and you talked about this offline. When Busy is with a team of producers and a label and their structure, and there's somebody guiding and helping make the sound, the album is a million times better than when Busy does a one-off with some fucking hole-in-the-wall record label that just lets him go in there and record whatever he wants, and then they just put it out. Because there's such an important factor in post-production. And during Mo Thugs and during all the shit that we love from Bone, you had Unique, you had Tony C, you had Bobby Jones, you had fucking Archie. I mean, these guys work in this post-production, and I just don't know. I do think that they're going in there giving it everything they got. I don't think that Lazy put out Annihilation and felt like this isn't my full potential.
Do you think? I think this, and I never really see this credited because the chorus is so repetitive, but I guess really where I was thinking was Rebirth. Chorus aside, I know that chorus, everybody want to sound like that gets way old real quick, but that song had that impact. It could have had that impact, and I don't know why it didn't have the impact that I was thinking, because I feel like that was getting to that full potential. All of them just killed it on that song. It's never really appreciated, but I think that song is kind of like near what I'm thinking. And then even See Me Shine was killing it. So like the singles they had were good, and those were getting close to the potential, but I still felt like, because they didn't do the chorus, they had somebody else doing the chorus. Maybe that's why Rebirth never really kicked it like that. But we were talking about The World's Enemy not hitting that, but I think that song was kind of close to getting there. Those verses are just killing it. If you haven't heard the song, watch the video again. Even Lazy's just killing it. All of them kill it on that track.
It's funny too, isn't Rebirth the one that like they did the hook and then they had Thin C just come through and do the hook for some reason?
Yeah, if they would have just cut down on the amount of repetition on it, that song would be much better.
They didn't need a hook overkill between every verse. Is what they didn't need. They needed like 2 back-to-back verses and then a hook. They want to know, John, and I don't think that you've seen this much except for what I've sent you, but there's another Mo Thug reunion afoot, and this time it looks like the one with the most potential. You know that we had at one point we had interviewed Soulja Boy, and they were going to do a reunion, and they were calling it like the Originals.
Right.
so that didn't come together, and now there's another one that I believe that it had a lot to do with 8 Money from Seldom Seen getting out of jail, and I think 8 Money had a lot to do with bringing this reunion together. But man, it's got like a lot of the lineup, and there's a video out, and it's all of them, just together. It looks like they're at a little bar or something, and people want to know what we think about it, and I can tell you it's the same thing that I always say. I would be excited as fuck, to see all these guys making some music together. It looked like the reunion was kind of made up of a few different chapters of Mo Thugs in there, which is cool. What I would say is, like, don't get your fucking hopes up for it to sound like Family Scriptures or Family Reunion. The same way, like, when a Bone album comes out, you shouldn't have your hopes up for it to sound like, Eternal. I'm really excited about it, but I just like to see those guys together and working. I do think that
I'll say this while you're thinking of that. I hope that somebody gets in touch with you, gets the most amazing, most perfectly aptly titled Mo Thugs 5 album, or 6, or however you're going to classify it. We have the absolute best title for the next Mo Thugs album. It fits with the storyline. There's no possible title better. And Cecil even made an imaginary album cover for it.
If I was to do a crowdfund, would you guys donate to a crowdfunding for me to? I would essentially produce a spin-off of a Mo Thug album. But to do that, I got to be able to pay Soulja Boy for a verse. I got to be able to pay Too True, etc. Producers. Oh, I think we got Clay calling in. Let me try to bring Brother Clay in. But would you guys do a crowdfund if we put that together? Because this is a real thing I want to do, but I don't have the money to do it, but we all have the money.
And we have the best title. I mean, when you guys hear about this title, it's just like, oh my God, that is the perfect title.
Brother Clay, you in here?
I'm here, gentlemen. How we doing?
Holy smokes,
hey,
Brother Clay.
What's up, Clay? You didn't want to show him your face on the video today on Skype?
Hell no, man. I'm incognito. I'm not even quite sure if I exist myself.
I was wondering if you were going to call in. I saw you kicking it in the chat a bunch. I was like, I wonder if Clay's going to give us a call.
I wanted to, because just to show gratitude and appreciation. At the same time, the way you guys cover Bone Thugs and Harmony and kind of know the ins and outs of everything about them, it's a pleasure to listen to. You know what I mean?
Thanks,
so it's kind of hard to say, when do you call in? Like,
anytime.
Yeah, they nailed it.
Anytime.
Like, when did the sound change? For me, it's like it probably changed when life situations changed. Mm-hmm. And producers were different. You know what I mean? I would say that's what I struggle with the most, is when you get a great sound from a producer and then you have to switch producers that you maybe not connected with on that mental and spiritual level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, where do I think that next, I don't know if I should say this, where do I think that next Bones song would come from that everybody, myself included, hears in their heart and soul, just hadn't heard on the radio waves yet? I bet it would come from a weekend session at the Gritty Art.
Oh yeah, that's a chilling location for sure.
You know what I mean? They would be in their comfort zone and something they were connected to. But then, like you said earlier, getting them all 5 together is difficult. I've tried it a couple times myself. But they all have. As a group, they're great, but they're also doing well, taking care of their own families and doing their independent things.
There's a bunch of you already got like a double album of Gritty Arc Busy Bone material unreleased as it is. We were talking about the unreleased material earlier, right. So there's so much. I witnessed in one night like an EP recorded there. So absolutely, I think it's a good environment too. Like that environment was so chilling to do an album, especially to get the inspirations with all the paintings on the wall of Eazy-E and Nate Dogg and all of them. So I think you're right, Clay. I think that would be a cool environment. Speaking of that, speaking of producers, who was you sent me some amazing exclusive material last night. That music video. Who was the producer for that track? Because that one sounded really good, and the video is beautiful.
One of my projects.
Yeah,
something else.
You sent me the Celebration music video.
Oh, that was Young Gritty from the Gritty Art Studios, and that Celebration was. See, the producer was Vision, and I'm not even allowed to talk about all the stuff that Vision's up to now. If Frank wants to come on later and explain that, he can, but that dude is amazing. You talk about beats and stuff that I'm holding. Like, when I started collecting stuff from those guys, I was like, God, this is so powerful. It's too much for one man. What do I even do with this? You know what I mean? How do you honor their work?
Yeah, and actually, maybe you could answer this, because we were asking earlier. We were pondering, how can somebody sit? We were talking about all my the Mo Thug Children song that Crazy Bone heard recently, put out the video. We're all hearing it, saying, how could people have held on to this for 18 plus years? You are a person that's been holding on to unreleased Bone material for multiple years now. How are you able to handle, possessing such stuff that you possess and not put it out?
That's a good question, and I think there's multiple layers to answering that, right? For me personally, is understand what each artist and each person puts into what they create, whether it be a person like Busy laying legendary vocals, or someone like Excel or Vision spending hours and hours on producing stuff. Like, I just see some of these things bigger, and out of respect for the people involved, I kind of wait for God to tell me when I need to place it in life,
Do you ever get worried that perfect time doesn't come? And I bring this up because, earlier you may have heard me say that, Archie's still sitting on music from 94, 93, 95. Romeo's sitting on music, Demiz is sitting on music. I mean, Demiz is sitting on albums worth of music. Is it ever a concern that you have these gems that just that sweet spot never happens?
Yeah, I mean, of course it's a concern, especially as an investor. You're always at risk, and when is the right time to do something and when is the wrong time. If I let my investment collect dust, does it become less valuable? I think when you're dealing with someone like Bone Thugs and Harmony, and now and then the person like Demiza will put on his Instagram and whatnot. If you're following him, you'll see he'll leak some of the stuff and have a post up for like 10 minutes or an hour just so you can listen. And to answer that question, some of the stuff that we're holding, and not just with Bone, even this, I have a couple Young Gritty albums that are just timeless. I don't think whenever you let it go is going to be a bad time. You know what I mean? Those guys put their heart and soul into the work.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like there's some questions for you in the chat there, Clay. I don't know if you're able to see them and if you want to respond to any of them.
I can't see them right now. What's the question?
So it looks like, they said nice. Mr. Unknown says nice drop with the Chronic 2020 video. I'd like you to elaborate how far that is actually in motion. So Mr. Unknown would just like you to elaborate on the Chronic 2020 single, potentially a music video, and if that is part of any larger project.
Yeah, I think like everything I've been doing for the past couple of years is part of a larger project. It's probably picture to 2023, kind of like I heard you say earlier, it's 2024. Yep, that's what I heard too.
Your audio chopped up there, Clay. Did you say that? you were planning on a 2023 release date because it completely dropped out.
I think there's a bigger.
You're clipping.
Yeah,
I can't hear you.
him. He must be traveling. He must be in the vehicle or something.
Can you hear us, Clay?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Hang on one second.
Sure thing. Yeah.
I apologize. Is this better?
Yep, much better. Much better.
Yeah. So the Chronic 2020 project is based on something larger that I'm working on. It probably won't have its complete revelation until about 2023 is my target date. Right? And yeah. And so about all the songs and everything that I'm holding is kind of all leading up to something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So how Chronic 2020, the song came about, I recently moved to New York to help some fellows in the construction industry. And the person that helped me in my life do that was also the person that funded Misery Project that not many people knew about. And his name was Ronald Watson. I was going to bring him up at Thanksgiving to New York to help me build this thing because we've done it before. It's what we do. A week before Thanksgiving, he passed away, right? So, and I had all this footage that we were collecting as Misery was being made, right? So it was like some behind the scenes stuff that people didn't know about my life and what I was going through at the time that all that was happening, that I thought could only be told by someone who truly knew me, right? So when he passed away, I had all this footage and I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, something's bigger to be done here. And when I told Frank Nitty and Young Gritty and Vision about it, because I think they were about the only ones that knew Ronald was a supporter of these projects because he was also helping build this thing with Young Gritty. And we actually went down, they flew from all the way from California and met me at a day before Christmas at his family's house.
Wow.
And recorded a music video. Yeah, how that went down was, I think we met on the 23rd. So the night of the 22nd, I'm driving from New York to Charleston. I called Frank Nitty like, hey man, Ron's gone. I got this footage. I want to make a movie. Let's make a little EP tribute album to him. And he's like, and he said, well, when do you need to have all this done? I'm like, in less than 48 hours. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I want to do a movie, a couple songs, and a video in 48 hours. Where are you? I'm in New York, heading to South Carolina. Where are you? I'm in California. Well, fucking wake the boys up. We got to meet, man. We got some work to do, you know. And we actually pulled it off in less than 48 hours. Wow. And that's what I like when people ask me sometimes, right? What's it like working with a person like Busy Bone or Frank Nitty or Young Gritty or these other people that, you know, to the persona of the world may have a reputation that's scary or unprofessional. And I would say quite the contrary, right? It's been all clean business for me, right? Contracts are involved. What's to be said is what's to be done is done. You know, these guys fulfill their obligations. And I would say if you ever have the opportunity to work with any of these people, feel safe and secure that it's going to be smooth.
Yeah, I agree, and I've talked about this a few times, but you know, I have 2 songs with Busy Bone. I've booked Busy Bone for shows. Every time it's been a flawless, easy, you know, just well put together transaction that not only was put together well, but like you know, this is what I would say is that, you know, we did our first track with Busy Bone, and by the second track, you know, he knew us. He remembered that we brought him for shows, that we had a song, and he went a little bit extra on the next track. And, you know, he did little things like gave a shout out to Ruthless, which was like real monumental in it. And, you know, he went over and above. So this is a guy that, like, not only does he give you a professional transaction, but I think that he cares about, you know, his, speaking specifically about Busy, but I think he really cares about all the features that he does. I don't think he's like, you know, just being a feature you know, king and just making a lot of money. I mean, I think he cares every time you get him on a track.
You know, so Clay, you mean to tell me that Young Gritty was able to write that entire song and then in 48 hours write it, record it, fly out there? Like that all
No.
happened? Oh, okay. Because that is
wait,
unbelievable.
two songs, homeboy.
Wow.
2 songs, and I'm telling you guys, like there's a difference between. I mean, this is our job, right? This is what we do, and you have people in any type of job you work for that are there for the job, and then you come across those rare personalities who are passionate about what they do, and understanding this is a Bone channel. Like my experience with Busy Bone was that. My experience with Frank Nitty and Young Gritty is always that. What I'm saying, like in my experience, I have been able to go to them if they're not currently on a project and say, hey man, I have this thought, I have this sound, can you make it? And if I catch them between projects, I can get it back in 24 to 48 hours with no need to send it back to be redone. Yeah.
Gritty seems like a machine, like, and every time it's always good. Like I haven't seen him come whack ever, and he's so polished. He's phenomenal. Young Gritty. I hope if you guys haven't checked out Young Gritty,
he's an amazing writer. You know what I mean? You can give him any kind of content, and he's on it. And currently working on a project for this summer. And I probably shouldn't say anything about it, but you'll hear about it soon. I think the man's going to take everybody to outer space and take you on a trip through the galaxy and bring you back and touch you down softly.
Was he doing? There was some singing on that track. Was that Gritty, or was that somebody else doing kind of like the singing vocals? There was a little bit of auto-tune on it.
That's Young Gritty, man. I think the first time I heard him sing was back when we did the first interview about him a year or so ago. And that's when Frank Nitty and I were saying we're going to change his name to Young Gritty. And I think a question that Cecil asked, and I was muted at the time, but Cecil asked, what is the song that's out now that will gravitate everyone towards Young Gritty? And I was thinking it ain't out because we're holding it. And that was Frank's exact response is it ain't out yet. But like I think with a person like that, he reminds me a lot of the work ethic and the power to what Bone Thugs and Harmony has, as to whenever he decides to let off, like he's going off, you know. I mentioned I had to bring him up in Chronic 2020, and I said, you know, Gritty will come into your home and pop up in your dome, you know, because for me, like when you get these songs that are so personal from someone like that, you're listening to them, these things are in your house and then they're in your head, you know. And with a special writer who understands that, like Young Gritty, you know, backed by the team that he's backed by, where they can produce quality projects, you know, at the drop of a hat, is pretty valuable for me. I call that value.
Yeah, and along those lines, what can you tell us about, you know, this movie that you got in the works? You know, potentially a 2023, but is it going to come out in stages? Is there anything you could reveal about it?
Libby, if you,
like where
if you blow my season 3 interview with fucking Brother Clay right now on this off season shit, you're gonna fucking get yelled at.
Good point. Yeah, we'll save that one then, Clay. We'll let it marinate.
I think it'd be interesting to watch. Series 1, we're going to debut on Beyond the Harmony. We have a couple live showings at Landmark and at a ballroom hotel here in New York. After those, we'll be in contact with you guys about releasing it on your channel. It'll be a glimpse into Ron's life and my own life through basically what you're going to get to know as Brother Clay through the eyes and ears and mouths of other people. You know, I was told the other day, I said, a guy told me, I look a lot for you online and I couldn't find much. I said, yes, that's intentional. And that would be your first mistake, thinking you're going to get to know me by something you see online. You're not going to get to know me, the Brother Clay person, by the physical form you see by anything you see online. It's going to take a relationship and time. I'm on another level, man. I don't know how to explain it. Other people have to explain it. You know, I'll leave it at that, gentlemen.
Yeah. I do have a question. We probably should save it for the interview. I think I will.
Fuck my shit
I'll
up,
save it
John.
for you.
Go. Fuck
Yeah,
my
I'm
shit
gonna
up,
save
John.
Yeah. So then I guess we'll leave it at this then. So in the attempt to not blow it, what other things? How would you like to end this out? Because I do got to wrap pretty soon. There any other things you could leak out to us or let us know or wisdom to part us with?
Yeah, I do. You remember when Russell Simmons started Def Comedy Jam?
Yep.
Thank
I
you
love
for
that
coming
show.
out. God bless and good night.
Beautiful. I used to love when Russell. Take us out of here, Russell. Martin Lawrence.
That's all he ever said. I hated it. But that's where we're at, man.
Yeah, actually,
Thank
Russell,
you guys
come
for
up
having
here.
me on, man. I
Russell,
appreciate it, man.
tell these people something they never heard before.
It was good. Somebody said it when you know the chat's been lit up all night, Clay, and when you called in, the chat completely went at a standstill, and someone said the chat stood still for Clay, and you know I think that's a real, you know, just great thing for them to say. It says a lot about you, and you know, Bone is a community. You know, we know Bone as these five guys, but it's such a community and it's such a big thing, and you know, the family tree of Bone is so big, and there's so many limbs, and you know, I think that says a lot that the fans, you know, respect you, and you know, I know our fans, meaning the Beyond the Harmony fans, we've started to you know, grow the Clay name and the affiliation of us, you know, us putting Misery on our channel and Smoke on and all the Brother Clay stuff. You know, it's really started to build the Beyond the Harmony, Bone Thug, Brother Clay, you know, relationship. And these fans just, they appreciate you, man. A project like Misery, that people have been, you know, waiting for that. Bone fans were waiting for that. Somebody to take the time to invest not just the money, but the time and the heart into a project. And you know, the chat went at a standstill. They gave you the chat standing ovation. So I just wanted you to know how much they love you in that chat tonight.
That's dope, man. I appreciate the love, and it's mutual, man. And I respect you guys, and y'all have a good night. And thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Clay. We appreciate you calling in, brother.
All right, fellas. Good night.
Good night, Clay.
John. All right, John. How over time did we run?
I mean, you know, an hour and a half over what I had budgeted for. But I'll always, you know, I'll take the pain for the team, for the Beyond the Harmony audience, and that was some good stuff. Clay calling in, dropping some info,
I
and
loved it.
And there's a lot more to come from Clay. And just in case anybody doesn't realize, you know, Clay has a big, you know, behind the scenes with Beyond the Harmony. We started out, you know, Clay calling me out to California, spending time with him and Excel Beats for the Busy Bone Misery shoot. So, and that's when I got to advertise the name Beyond the Harmony, let people know that we were about to come out with a, you know, a podcast show. So, Clay's got deep roots with the Beyond the Harmony show.
Yeah.
And that's why we always show love to Clay.
In a lot of ways, it's like we came up with the Beyond the Harmony idea in 2015, and it just kind of sat stagnant. It was just me and John's like, oh, wouldn't it be great if we did this idea? And then, you know, Brother Clay and John got connected, and John went out to Cali with Clay and Busy and Excel. And I think that, you know, when you got back, you were like, bro, this Beyond the Harmony thing is real. And it's funny, even with all that, I still wasn't sold that I wanted to do it. But it's like, if it wasn't for that moment, who the fuck knows if we'd even be sitting here. So not only do we have a large relationship with Clay, but, you know, in a weird way, Clay might have been the boot in the ass that we finally needed to take it from more than an idea to a real thing.
Yeah, that and slapping that Beyond the Harmony logo you created on that Excel Beats interview. I think that's I think once you saw that, you're like, oh shit, it's real. We could do this.
It was wild. I was like, man, John's just. I gotta hurry the fuck up and get in this. John's just going with it. Like, it's Beyond the Harmony thing's gonna happen with or without me, motherfucker. Like, I gotta make it happen.
And it's a shame too that things got cooking so far, so fast that there was supposed to be interviews with Aaron DeSalle, with all the people that were in the music video. I forgot the names. Nazi Nasiri and TC Talkuz. None of those interviews ended up happening. If Clay's still listening, maybe we still do them, maybe we don't. Maybe it doesn't make sense at this point. But yeah, it's funny how many ideas never end up happening. But that trip is the catalyst. That's what began Beyond the Harmony. The Excel Beats first interview, Cecil seeing it, saying, "Oh yes," and then we did the Mo Thugs, and it's been history since then. So Clay's a big part. Cecil and Johnny always locking it down. I went an hour and a half over what I wanted, but I thank everybody that stayed to watch this whole show. Big shout out to Terez, the special guest host.
Yeah, he was.
Along with us,
Terez.
filling in Taiwan style. And, that was
good.
cool. I
love the lives because you never know what's going to happen on Beyond the Harmony Live and who's going to call in. We had no idea Clay was going to call in. We had no idea we were going to do this until about 6 o'clock tonight. Here we are. It's 11 o'clock. We had a great episode. We dropped them out. John, that's everything?
That's everything, and shout out to everybody in the chat. And it was cool to see Frank Nitti out there too. And big shouts to Kevin Starks and 1985 Gemini and everybody that's always been down from day one. Yeah. So it's a good show. And shout out to you, Cecil West. Good for keeping Johnny Boy in check, man. I need that because I'm the habitual line stepper.
Hey, for the last time tonight, my name is Cecil West with the one and only
Jonathan Lippy.
And this is Beyond the Harmony, beyondtheharmony.com. We will see you when season 3 starts. Feenics Ryzin, bring us home.
Beyond the harmony for the fans we celebrate.